So they have food. We're gonna go and we're gonna do a intermission. You can go over there and all, and some of the books that I'm gonna be doing, you will you can see the books over there. You can get them do an intermission or after that time. Like I said, this time I'm going to be doing a lot of visual things again because we got a lot of things. We want to clear up a whole lot of things. First of all, like I said, we're trying to get you to start thinking 98% of your biblical scriptures are talking about on the inside other than the outside. You see, because your biblical scriptures came from where? It came from the Kabbalistic scriptures. And your Kabbalah is what? The tree of life, the autonomy of the body of God, which also comes from Egypt, which I'll show you the actual picture of the Kabbalah coming off the walls of Egypt of the temple of Como. And this is the same tree of life with the 10 Sephiras, the same tree of life, and all that comes from the temple of Como in Hemmitt. So this predates the Hebrew Kabbalah, but we understand now that the Hebrews was nothing but northern Ethiopians, and it was all black people, and it was different schools, just like you got a Clark, a Morehouse, a Morris Brown, where you would have Dendera, you would have Philae, you would have schools in Ethiopia. So we talking about a whole educational system, which they did not discriminate against each other, saying, oh, your God is foul and this God is that. It was all one God. And you're talking about different schools of theology that later time we misconstrue as a war against as far as different gods and one God becoming corrupt. That's the biggest bullshit ever. You see, so we want to do that. I guess I'll do this list. Oklahoma, we'll do that. Uncle the Kunsu, we're going to deal with that. I put it right here so I can just see what I got to do. Kind of unorthodox because we want to get out of doing things as rigid as the white boy. Whereas, you know, we think, and and you'll understand when you say, well, that's just some stuff that brother they're trying to say just to make excuses. But when you get into the rhythmic patterns of chaos or the chaos field, what you talk about, the primal forces, you're going to find out that there is no linear perspective. So therefore, you have to do things based on your archetype of the collective unconsciousness. Number one, is the film on? Now, because it's good, because it's first of all, it's a good day today, because first of all, this is the Mother's Day, and it's Day of Ma, and number two, it's a good day because I want to get this documented on film because I got a brother in the audience and I'm getting ready to put on the spot in a few minutes. I want to get it on film because, believe it or not, this brother was one of the first brothers in actuality to get me into consciousness, get me on the road. So therefore, I want to give him some just due in a few minutes. So we want to deal with that particular thing, and also too, it's good because we want to have the brother to come back here because the brother is very gifted in the endeavors of the New World Order also. So you know of Steve Coakley and you know of Bill Cooper and those, but right here we have Atlanta-based people that can do that have their own rendition. So in actuality, when I introduce this brother, we're going to try to get it so this brother can come back here and speak. You see what I'm saying? Because he is gifted in the endeavors of the New World Order. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, once we start off, I'm going to give this brother his due, and so we can do that. So that'll work out perfect. That will work out perfect. Also, like I said too, I'm going to start off. We always start off by giving you the Bible scriptures, which if you don't learn nothing, you need to at least learn these scriptures. You at least learn these scriptures and all, because therefore it takes the spookism out of it, and therefore even the black preacher got to bear witness to it. For the simple fact, once you go into his Bible and show him where it says these particular things, so we want to take the spook out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to give out those scriptures for those people that have it. Cool, but for those people who don't have it, you at least need to know that, because they say in actuality, if you're going to go after the people in North America, you better know something about that book. Because spite it all, you spite what you think. Even the Quran is not what the masses of the people are in. Even though we know in the last 60 years we've had a great Quranic phase, and a lot of people either know the Bible or the Quran, but on the other hand, it's like Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you must know the Bible as good as the Christian, the Quran as good as the Muslim, the Torah as good as the Jew. You see what I'm saying? And so therefore we must understand that like we say, the concept is you're supposed to take all those books and put them together. He who knows one book knows none. You see what I'm saying? They say we have a bigger book with us. So the Godhead gave us these particular scriptures, and you're supposed to read them together. Now I'm gonna give you a good book, book called Moses, Pharaoh of Egypt, when we go into some things where the brother, when the scriptures broke down in the Bible, there was scripture when it broke down in the Bible, he went to the Quran. And certain things the Quran didn't have, the Bible had in the Torah. So therefore you can get the complete story, and then you can go back to the book of coming forth by day, and you can understand the whole gnosis. And gnosis, which means knowing also too. So I guess it's fair to start. So did we get a bucket? Did we get a bucket? We need a bucket to pour libations. Let me see if I got my list. Let me get this out of the way. You at least can clean up a little bit. Don't have it looking like my house. Shit, you know. But do a little bit of tidying up. I don't have to be nasty everywhere I go. But yeah, okay. I got a good little list of the gods I brought, and we will leave a list of the gods also that you can also get too. Now, did you get a bucket? Any kind of bucket or something? Okay, cool. Whenever you're ready, so we can pour libations. We always pour libations because you need to start pouring libations also to keep yourself in checks and balances. Also, you need to pour libations for protection, especially on the road now, because we got a 95 sticker. But you pour them libations, cop ain't gonna fuck with you. See what I'm saying? We drove on what? We drove on the 92 sticker, 93 sticker, up to November of 94. So, and didn't happen. Just riding all over the place. Went all up to Tennessee and everywhere. And so they're gonna start charging people $1,000 and stuff. So you need to learn a lot of things for law enforcement at these particular days. And you know. All right, now what we can do is, now let me do one thing. Let me get these out the way. So we got my transparencies. I think I can see these. Just put these on the floor, and then after that we can go right ahead. Now I was here on time, but I had to go get the notes and stuff, but nobody was here. So therefore, you know. But then again, thank God for CP time anyway. All right. Okay. Now, I get my notes. Boom, boom. I just want to get right because we want to treat this in a certain way. Okay. Here we go. Vernal equinox, messianic conspiracy. Okay, 1, 2. And believe it or not, I happen to know these papers, so that's good. You know, a junk man should know his own junk, at least. Okay, let's see. 666. All right, now, boom, boom. We want to deal with the Ebola Zaire. And first thing, we're going to start off with Ma, the daughter. The word Mayat came from the African word Ma, M-A, Ma, which means the daughter. You had a double Ma, on the double horizon, double Ma, which means mama, where you get the word mama from. You see, so the day since today doing the Mother's Day, and also the month of Ma is May. They put the Y on the end of the M-A, and you get May. All that corresponds with Ma, the great mother of the daughter. We'll show you the daughter on the spear of the okay, good to go. Show you the daughter on the spear of the Holy Kabala in a few minutes. And so now, what we're going to do is, I'm going to go down this list. I usually just call them out by my head, but I want to we'll just go down this little list right now to make it a little faster. That way I won't forget none. And like I say, we'll have a list in a few minutes that we'll leave over here. So now what you want to do is, I don't know, what is that in there? Is that some detergent or something? I don't want to give them no water. I want to give the gods no water with no damn detergent in it and stuff. They'll be coughing bubbles, scrubbing bubbles. But then again, on the other hand, where should I pour this? I just pour it in this little window right here. Okay. I guess they'll do it all right. Their spirit to get it. Okay. You all ready? So as you know, as I call them out, you go Ashe. which means power, which means so be it. What else does it mean? Okay, now you know the rules. Once it get packed, any hard heads, unasked the chairs for the sisters. But then again, I think we got enough seats for everybody, you know. We got a good, nice crowd here, so I don't think it'll ever get to that point. So, you ready for it? Let's go. Awas, Ashe. Al Suit, Ashe. Mamu, Ashe. Thunderdog, Ashe. Astyle, Ashe. Thunderbird, Ashe. Kakchidi, Ashe. Wolfman, Ashe. Ma, Ashe. Cthulhu, Ashe. Okulukulu, Ashe. Quetzalcoatl, Ashe. Anis, Ashe. Pepe, Ashe. Ani, Ashe. Noon, Ashe. Allah, Ashe. Layla, Ashe. Jeswa Ben Pandera, Ashe. Samson, Ashe. Shawan, Ashe. Delilah, Ashe. Medura Atan, Ashe. Melchizedek, Ashe. Sai Baba, Ashe. Buddha, Ashe. Ishtar, Ashe. Pan, Ashe. Ankop the Kansu, Ashe. Cthulhu, Ashe. Shub-Niggurath, Ashe. Nirlahotep, Ashe. Azathoth, Ashe. Hastar, Ashe. Mithra, Ashe. Thou, Ashe. Au, Ashe. Salika, Ashe. Sebek Ra, Ashe. Osea, Ashe. Aset, Ashe. Heru, Ashe. Mayat, Ashe. Ma, Ashe. Obatala, Ashe. Onduduwa, Ashe. Oladumarae, Ashe. Ife, Ashe. Shango, Ashe. Oshun, Ashe. Ogun, Ashe. Iminja, Ashe. Elegba, Ashe. Oya, Ashe. Maraka, Ashe. Bridget, Ashe. Adam Gwadi, Ashe. Ogu Farelli, Ashe. Ogu Shango, Ashe. Marasha, Ashe. Papagede, Ashe. Pataneta Unra, Ashe. Okay, let's see. Atum Nefa, Ashe. Atum Nefru, Ashe. Newt, Ashe. Apit, Ashe. Tyert, Ashe. Dagon, Ashe. Lamb, Ashe. Mutin Ashe. Sammy, Ashe. Kami, Ashe. Yoksatos, Ashe. Sata, Ashe. Tasagata, Ashe. Noom, Ashe. Kansu, Ashe. Kakshidi, Ashe. Sunbear, Ashe. Tishtira, Ashe. Phoenix, Ashe. Okay, hold on 1 minute. All right. Harpalo, Ashe. Panheru, Ashe. Ashe. El, Ashe. Al, Ashe. Malektos, Ashe. Melchizedek, Ashe. Sutek, Ashe. Tekar, Ashe. Sutnesi, Ashe. Sutnet and Sutnubit, Ashe. Babylon, Ashe. Ku, Ashe. Calves, Ashe. Yahweh, Ashe. Pasket, Ashe. Harpocrots, Ashe. Cirque, Ashe. Numra, Ashe. Samson, Ashe. Arun Lashah, Ashe. Datcher Murchie, Ashe. Malcolm X, Ashe. Marcus Garvey, Ashe. Noble Jew Ali, Ashe. Master Farah Muhammad, Ashe. Gerald Massey, Ashe. We'll tell you that in a few minutes. Hold on 1 minute. Keep on going. Denmark Vesey, Ashe. Sir Donald Truth, Ashe. Richard Allen, Ashe. Nat Turner, Ashe. Let's see. Bob Marley, Ashe. Rastafari, Ashe. You know that as Selassie, Haile Selassie, Ashe. Numra, Ashe. Sebek Ra, Ashe. Jah, Ashe. Jack, Ashe. Jehovah, Ashe. Baal Shem, Ashe. Astarte, Ashe. Anana, Ashe. Lilith, Ashe. Vashashetu, Ashe. Ankop Nakansu, Ashe. Hermerchus, Ashe. Hamanubas, Ashe. Kutalu, Ashe. Uwazi, Ashe. Muewas, Ashe. Obas, Ashe. Muter, Ashe. Typhon, Ashe. Sut Anoop, Ashe. Melektus, Ashe. Baal Kabal, Ashe. Baal Kibin, Ashe. Baal Sutek, Ashe. Baal Zephon, Ashe. Let's see. Gek, Ashe. I guess that's enough. We'll do one to the Great Mother, Ashe. We'll do one to Gaia, which is the earth. Ashe. Al Kamoria, which is the original name of the earth. Al, which means God. Kim, which means black. And Mor, which means Lord of the earth. Al Kamoria, Ashe. And I'll just say to the Hemmitt family, Ashe. To the Shaw family, Ashe. To the Davis family, Ashe. To all my family members, Ashe. And so now, when I count, okay, one more. Sekhmet, Ashe. I want to put her in there. Het Heru, Ashe. Neptert, Ashe. Okay, now, when I count to 3, 1, 2, 3, I want you to start calling out your ancestors. 1, 2, 3. Ashe. Keep on calling. Keep on calling. Y'all call them out loud. These are your ancestors. They're pleading your case in the court of heaven. Ashe. 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 To all gods known and unknown. Ashe. To all ancestors known and unknown. Ashe. Okay, the Spirit came and said that you need to start opening up your windows. That lets the spirit know that you're welcoming them. So always open up your windows to let that spirit come through. Also, we'll tell you how to build an altar in a few. Also, let me get this water out the way because I get to running and stuff. Hell, I'll put it up here in front of the people, let them enjoy it. So we're going to build an altar. Also, you need to start burning your candles. If you don't want spirits in your house, always burn your black candle. Now, also, too, if you got white people in the house fucking with you, and I'll say that because remember now, ain't no such thing as no abomination, no cuss word. How in the hell could that be a curse word when the Holy Scriptures was written? Wasn't no English language even on the doggone planet. So how in the devil God is talking about that's abomination for some cuss words? That's fairy tale, and that's based on what you would call European culture. So since we have adopted that for our official language, you see what I'm saying, and we use that as so as putting emphasis on it, we'll say a few of those every now and then. We won't get too doggone out of the hand. But on the other hand, if you got white people in your house, in your job messing with you, this is what you must do. Also, if you got some Negroes messing with you and you want to get them off your back. Now, first of all, what you need to do is, let's say if a brother says, next time I see you, I'm going to tear your behind up, I'm going to shoot the hell out you, or whatever. Or somebody always calling your house messing with you, or either the bill collectors or the white man, or on the job where everybody got this on the job where the cracker making it hard for you and all this kind of thing. Trying to get up in your face and want to make you get fired or whatever, and want to make you resign. This is what you do. You get you this is coming from the Yoruba ritual. Now you're going to get you a brown bottle, either a beer bottle or a root beer bottle. You know the brown bottles. Beer bottle or root beer bottle. And you take it and you put you some coffee up in it. Some liquid coffee. You say, I don't care whether freeze dried or whatever, decaf or whatever, just put you some coffee up in there. Liquid coffee, pour it in the bottle. Then you get you a brown paper bag and you write that person's name who is giving you a hard time, or that person that you're trying to be protected from, or a couple of those people, you write them on that bag, or you write those people's name on the bag or that person's name on the bag, roll it up and put it in that bottle and put it on your doggone altar. You build an altar, or you put it on your windowsill, or whatever you do. Your dresser or whatever, and that person or whatever will not mess with you. And you need to start doing these particular things for protection. You see what I'm saying? Also, always it's good to burn you a black candle in your house, because that also wards off evil as far as people breaking in and different things like that. For you sisters, if you're going someplace and you out late at night and you're afraid, but you had to be by yourself, you always, if you're any kind of dangerous situation that you're going, you're always supposed to wear purple. You see, because if you wear purple, that purple will ward that off from you. So you want to do those particular things. Now, we got to write these down, because I always start my lectures with this, because if you don't get anything, you must get this. This is why you haven't been answered. And that is, you need to learn these Bible verses. Psalms 82, verse 1. Psalms 82, verse 1. And God standeth on the congregation of the mighty, and he judges among the gods. Who are the gods? It's answered in John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36. Now, wait a minute. Before I do this, the first thing I want to do is, I want this brother to stand up. I want this brother to stand up. I know I got to put you on the spot. You know how it is. You know how us niggas are. You know how that is. You know how it is. Don't come around no niggas if you don't want to get put on the spot now. This brother here, you can turn around. This brother here is Maddox D. Moore. He's a long-time confidant of mine. He was former SGA president of Clark College back in the day. The brother is now, I think you got your Masters of Divinity. The brother went to Clark. He also went to Duke University. Now this brother here had to flee Duke University because he was too damn radical, and the Ku Klux Klan came and said, we got to get this nigga out of here, because he was up, he was uprooting down President Nixon College. So you see like that. So turn around and show the people your face, because I want to show you people and all. So now you can sit on down. I want to show the camera and all too. And anyway, when I first came to Clark, you know how it is now, and this is true. And you can ask yourself this question. Most of you in here, all of you, when you were little children, you always thought in your heart there was something different about you. Even though you went along with the flow, you say, the world can't be all it is. There's something different in me that make me want to be other than average. Not on the ego thing, but something in your spirit was telling you that you must search for a certain amount of truth. That's why you're here today. It's no mistake. So when I came up to Clark, this was one of the first brothers that turned me on. He was one of the first brothers that told me to go to the Minister Louis Farrakhan, because we were both working at the post office together. He said, well, brother, you need to go there because you never know. I said, every time I take somebody there, they always thank me. This is when Farrakhan was on it. You know, when he was hot back in the 80s, you know, when he was smoking. And we went there and all, and the next thing we know, the fruit came and busted us up, and we ended up being on stage with him, with the Minister Farrakhan, me and a couple other brothers from the SGA at Clark and all, and went and ended up being on stage with him. And I'm going to tell you, this brother here taught me a whole lot. So, you know, we need to do that. Now, this brother here is now into the New World Order. I mean, heavy. I heard he catching a little hell by the church or whatever. But then again, we'll understand that. We understand that. But on the other hand, this brother here is going to be stepping out and going to be doing some things. So I wanted, his name is Brother Maddox D. Moore from Chicago, Illinois. And he's the godson of Reverend Jesse Jackson. And you know how that go. But you know, and also, I think the brother is one of the youngest Panthers. I think he was dealing with Fred, and then when he was real young, like when he was, you know, early teens or whatever, this brother's one of the youngest ones. So this brother has been through all the stuff. I heard this brother, he said by the time he entered college, the damn government had a dossier on his ass before he even entered college. You see what I'm saying? Then he went and did the SGA bit, and you know they had a dossier. And then I heard that the brother, he said one time there was one of his frat brothers, because he's a Sigma, got out and started working for the FBI and came back to Atlanta and showed him a book with his face in it. You see, so we know that the government have tabs on stuff. So I want to and especially to me, because I always wanted to you know, give credence to this brother and give thanks to this brother, because the brother opened me up a lot. This is one of the first brothers that introduced me to Chancellor Williams' work. You see, Destruction of Black Civilization. And in other words, he was one of the first persons that ever to teach me on the inner workings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, we always want to do that. So, there's nobody that, everybody has something to say, and everybody is that's also turned on, or everybody's influenced by other people. And this is one of the first brothers. I think this is probably the first leg of me coming into knowledge. So I want to bear witness. So y'all give the brother a round of applause. Yeah. Okay. Now see, we got that documented on film. So when the brother start doing his brother Maddox Emo, when he start doing his speaking on this New World Order thing, you see what I'm saying? You'll know that the brother got some juice, and he's not no fly-by-night Negro. You see what I'm saying? Okay. All right, he was one, you know, so, and also the brother was one of the first people to turn me on to the book, When Your Money Fails. And he had the book when the book first came out. And now the book is out of print, you see. And so we going through all that particular stuff now. Also now, you need to write down John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36, for those people that never wrote it down. John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36, and Psalms 82, verse 1 to 6. So that's John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36, and Psalms 82, verse 1 to 6. Okay? Where's your other fan? Is up against the wall? Is it cooling people off? Because if you want, we could prop it up on one of the chairs or whatever. You know, whatever. But anyway, but then again, on the other hand, we ain't going to go down as a bunch of Africans, the first Africans on the planet who couldn't stand no damn heat. You see what I'm saying? That means we far removed from the original hominid stage. What's that? Huh? Yeah, okay, that's Psalms 82, verse 1, John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36, and Psalms 82, verse 1 to 6. And now if you don't do nothing, spit this one out. John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36 is the most powerful scripture in there. And it says, and Jesus answered unto them, is it not written in your law that I say that you are gods, or ye are gods? And he called them gods, for whom the scriptures cannot be broken, says him whom the Father has sanctified and sent into the world. Thou blasphemest, because I said that I am the Son of God. So that's when I think that he was talking to his disciples or whatever, told them, look, they was like saying, you know, we don't know if we can get along without you. And he was like, hey, you know, he was a revolutionary freedom fighter. So he was like, hey, didn't I say, is it not written in your law that I say that ye are gods? We must understand this, and we must start thinking as the Godhead, other than followers. Now, And this frees you from all the other hocus pocus people coming to telling you to follow them. You see. Now, the next one is very key because it is Romans chapter 8, verse 14, 16, 17. Because this explains the whole thing. Why did Jesus say to his disciples that I call you the Son of God? That I say that you are gods and the scriptures cannot be broken. And it's in Romans chapter 8, verse 14, 16, 17. For as many is led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. And if the Spirit bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God, and if children, then heirs. And if heirs of God, then joint heirs with the Christ. You see, that means that Jesus is the example. Be ye perfect as I am, which means perfect. You can't have two perfects in the English language or no other languages. Perfect means perfect. It means to be the direct or the complete duplication and personification of what he is, which means the same thing that is in him, it is in you. And the same thing that he has done, you should do, or you will do, you see. Now, another one is Psalms chapter 8, verse 3 to 6. Psalms 8, verse 3 to 6. And I don't want to read that one because we got to go on. And the other one is, a lot of people had a problem finding this, but we couldn't find it because we thought it was in the missing books of the Bible, but it was Moroni. And Moroni chapter 10, verse 4 to 5. And Moroni is in the Mormons' Bible. You see, it's in the Mormons' book. You're supposed to read all books, even their books. But remember, all books, he who knows one book knows none. There's no religion higher than truth. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, and when we say the many gods, there's no such thing as many gods. There's only the archetypes of the collective unconsciousness. The one God of the God one. When you see the 99 attributes of God, when you see the netters, Allah has 99 attributes. When you see the netters of God in Egypt, those particular netters that you see, when you put them together, they represent the God one or the one God. You see, or whatever. It's talking about the different archetypes of the God. God is too damn vast for you to put it into one type thing, because when you don't understand the full implications, you end up going in fear of God. You see what I'm saying? And therefore, you must wipe out this particular fear based on your life situation, thinking that God got his eye on your life situation. God too busy making sure the damn sun don't bump into the moon to worry about your little pathetic life and what the little things you doing right now. You see what I'm saying? So your own karma and your own cause and effect brings that back in the universe. You see what I'm saying? Because is it not written in the law that ye are God? So therefore, when a God speaks, or when a God wills it, or when a God thinks, he makes it law. And he makes his law, and therefore he becomes a victim of his law. The same is if you think good thoughts, you become the recipient or the achievement of your good thoughts. As man and woman thinketh, so is he or she. Check. Now, first of all, like I said, there's a few things on Ma, but when you read Goddess Mayat, you'll be dealing with Ma. Now, there's some other principles on that, but when you read the Goddess Mayat, or check out those particular things. Remember now, one of the good books you want to get is From Fetish to God in Ancient Egypt. They have a few over there where he says that I have been wrong. 1935, his last book, E. Wallace Budge, after writing Gods of the Egyptians, say, I have been wrong. All these years I thought that they were worshiping many gods, but they was worshiping the same God, and they put it together, it represents the one God of the God one. You see what I'm saying? So it was all the same thing. So now, in here you deal with Maya. Her ancient name coming from equatorial Africa or beyond Egypt is called Ma. And you have a double Ma, Mama. By the time it goes to Hemmitt, it becomes Mayat or Ma'at. You see, but you have the word Ma'an, which is the eon of Mayat or Mayan. You also have the month May. So it's not by accident that they would literally put Mother's Day in May, because the people who put some of the things together, even though most holidays are based on commercialism, and you shouldn't make a doggone hill of beans. You see what I'm saying? Don't just wait the one day to give your mama no doggone present. You see what I'm saying? But then again, on the other hand, you should not reduce yourself down to commercial items in the first place. But we understand that even though most of the negative things that went into the holidays, we also know that in actuality, some of they got it from the actual gnosis or the actual pre-times where they studied our stuff. And so the May is also named after Ma, which is, they put the Y, which gives you May. And she is the daughter. Now in the Holy Kabbalah, when we start going into this today, let me get you a picture of a good picture of the Holy Kabbalah. Everybody know the tree of life. When you start looking at the tree of life, when we start going into this today, you're going to find out this tree of life. When you start dealing with this one, you're going to find out that these 10 Sephiras, down at the bottom is Malkuth, which is the daughter. So you have Geburah, Bina, Had, Yesed, Tifereth, Daf, which is the black dot, because this is all your body. Keber, which is your crown chakra. Shakma, Chesed, Yetzed, and then you have Malkuth. Now, like Malkuth. Now I got another one in a few minutes I'll show you that corresponds with the stars and each planets, and stuff. So here's so all of these are different forms of the tree of life, and the tree of life and the key of life, and we'll deal with that in a minute. What those numbers are. So now the daughter. So now the daughter is also Malkuth, which is the earth, which also. But now in this particular sphere here, the earth is going to come and it's going to go to this particular part. The earth will go back into Keber and all the cosmic power zones. And I'm going ahead of myself right now, but I wanted to just put that out about Ma. We'll get into some more stuff on Ma in a few minutes. Now let's deal with a few things right now. First of all, we want to deal with Ebola's ear. Before we go into some other science, I just put that up there for the scenery. Pretty picture y'all look at. And let's deal with this thing. Because first of all, we do know that the first movie that came out was last year, was the movie The Stand, which is now available at Blockbuster. A three or 4-part series by Stephen King. Now Stephen King was trained in the occult. He was trained and one of his mentors was H.P. Lovecraft, which he was trained in the occult. You see what I'm saying? As well as Steven Spielberg. So they did it. Now the occult only means that which is hidden. Your stuff that they got from you and hid it in museums around the world. So now most of the stuff that when you have the greatest writers, the one that give you the best, Gene Roddenberry, which is Star Trek, different things, those are the people because they are well gifted in the occult. Other movies get a little cheap with it, they show a lot of killing and stuff, but it doesn't pan out. But when you deal with the greater writers like Stephen King and Steven Spielberg and producers, you can go and take their particular films and you can actually see different things that you can pick out. There's different points of knowledge. That's because they are all trained. Now, so his first movie to come out was The Stand. What happened on The Stand? It was a great outbreak of disease. They killed people in 48 hours. People was dying. And then they had the black woman that came and represented God, played by Ruby Dee, and the white man that represented the devil. Now, we didn't write this. The white man wrote that. You understand? So that's the first movie. The next movie was the movie that came out, Outbreak. But remember now, before the movie Outbreak came out, and you must go see this movie. Like I said before, a lot of people slept on the movie. Somebody get me a cup. I'll drink it, I'll drink it Granny Jetro style before y'all get me a cup. The XXX style and all. Where they say you, where it go? You know the deal. But anyway, what happened is, oh God, I think this is regular spigot water, ain't it? Yeah. I got me. Well, I get it one. You got my cup. You got my jug, right? Yeah, just go get that jug too. Now, the gods can drink that, but you know how it is. And another thing too, cut down on that spigot water because it's got parasites in it. That ain't nothing but clear dookie water that they put the chlorine in and all that kind of thing. Now there's no excuse because now you can get the still water, which is your best water, for 50 cents, 59 cents. Or spring water for 59 cents at A&P. So, get that kind of water, but don't be drinking that water because that water has parasites in it. You see what I'm saying? Has parasites in it. So you don't want to be drinking that kind of water. Now, going back to this particular thing, you had this show that was aired day one. Now, day one aired about 2 weeks before it built Bowler's ear, before the movie Outbreak came. Now, like I said before, the movie is not out of the theater, but we've gotten reports that it will be coming to the Dollar Flick at least, if it's not this Friday, the next Friday after. You see. So we'll be coming to the dollar flick. For those people who missed it, go see the movie, you see. Now, we got it 2 weeks before about Ebola Zaire. It was called Ebola Resonant, where it was supposed to a monkey broke out the cage in Fort Detrick, Maryland. You see what I'm saying? Now, and this so-called disease broke out damn near before the disease that just broke out last Wednesday. Now, let's go into this. They started talking about this disease and all of this particular thing, and I said, well, that's going to be the next thing that's going to hit. Then they started advertising the movie. The same week that they did the day one special, they started advertising the movie Outbreak. Now, they advertised the movie, and when we went to go see the movie, when we got in the movie, first of all, we saw Outbreak. That showed you the strain, the actual strain. They showed you how it looked. Then they showed you that it was called Ebola Zaire. Now, then what happened? We go see the movie. The movie is named Ebola Zaire. The disease is called Ebola Zaire. You see what I'm saying? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We must analyze everything. Everything. You see. Because nothing is by chance. Nothing is by coincidence. The cracker don't work on coincidence. You see what I'm saying? It's only a coincidence because you've been allowing him and giving him the excuse to say, no, he ain't evil, even though he's killing us. So therefore now, when you go and you see this movie, it's Ebola Zaire, in the movie, you know something's going down. Okay, this is the next thing. So the movie they show, now this is the key. Now you must, if you can still find some, go and get the, what's the name of the book? The Outbreak book, the little $4 book, the little $4 softback book, paperback book that they always put out before the movie. They doing the same time of the movie. They put one out for Stargate also. And get the one for Stargate if you can still find it, because it's got more in it. It goes into the myth on how Ra came about. But when we start getting into the science, we're going to tell you that Stargate was actually on it. Now, even on a greater level. All right. In the movie it says 1967. By the time the TV movie comes out last Monday, it's 1976. I'm going to tie all this in. Just start thinking for a minute. And they go into Africa, they find these people with this disease, they drop a bomb on them, kill them, and they take the strain back, they was operating on it, they make this particular drug and all this. Then the strain breaks out again. So it goes 1967, then it has present date. Now they didn't put the date in the movie because they know most black people go to movies. So black people go to movies, they know black people don't read. So therefore, when the little paperback came out, and I was up in doggone Publix supermarket, and said, let me go over here and see this. I saw the movie. I said, let me just go. Something said, go and check the book. So you know what it is. Now remember now, at this particular time, you're going down, you start dealing with more spiritual things. You have a first voice and you have a second voice. Always listen to the first voice, because you got an angel that sit on the right of you and one that sit on the left of you. They get all this from metaphysics. Always listen to the first one. You see what I'm saying? You know how that is, because you say, damn, I should have did that. Now, something say, go look at the book. So I went and looked at the book, and in the place where now in the movie they had 1967, then they had present day. In the book they had 1967, and then in the part where they had present day, they said August 15th, 1995. Now most movies don't even put the dates now, because those movies can become dated. Because this is a movie of futuristic, it can cover a large span of time. So why are you going to be specific in the book? 1995. That is because they knew what time it was, and they was trying to show the ones that was on it, as far as the white ones, or what time it is, or they was trying to create this particular thing in people's mind. Okay, then the X-File comes out about 2 weeks ago. The X-File, the TV show The X-Files. And they have their own rendition. They didn't give the name Ebola. They just said this disease, and everybody started dying. Then the movie Virus comes out last Monday. Here again, it's Ebola. Now, in the Outbreak, they got the CDC. They have Fort Detrick, Maryland. In this movie, they got the CDC. And I think they did have Fort Detrick, Maryland, I think, in this movie too. Now, mind you, if anybody saw the damn Strecker memorandum tape, when they was talking about AIDS, what did they have? Fort Detrick, Maryland, the CDC. You see what I'm saying? So now how is it that you got two doggone biological germ warfares that you call them viruses, but even if you're going to front the virus thing, why is it this time the same damn disease is jumping up again in the same places? Okay? So now on this movie, they have it, and then what happens? All of a doggone sudden, 2 days later, the virus breaks out. But when they said the virus broke out, what was the first thing they said? The first thing they said was that the virus that broke out, they said that it had to have had a 2-week incubation period, and almost 100 people had died when they announced it. So that means that the damn government already knew it. So by the time they put it on TV, they knew what time it was, because what happened? It wasn't no virus. We can't be thinking virus. We know that the government planted it. You see what I'm saying? Now, most people in the consciousness, there should not be no mistake that this was a germ warfare. I know when you go home to Mississippi, Alabama and stuff, and you tell your parents, and the first thing your parents will say was, oh, you think they did that? Oh, you think the government could do that? But you're supposed to know better, because you have had, so some of the people that's just coming in, you're supposed to know better based on spirit. But some of the people that's been in the Afrocentric community for 10 years, 5 years or whatever, you should know this by now, because they had enough evidence on the AIDS thing. Right? Check. Okay, now, it goes on that in this particular movie, the one on Monday night, how did they administer it? They showed a little boy and a little girl, a man with a girl, and he had a gun, which was the same kind of gun that they used for immunization. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we know that the whole immunization thing and the whole Atlanta project, and we know all of that is based on the whole Global 2000 with Jimmy Carter. You understand? So then what happens in the movie, he runs out there and starts trying to shoot. The woman go back to her apartment, and this guy busting through the door with the gun, trying to shoot her with the gun. Some fool running around with a damn gun, trying to immunize her with Ebola Zaire. You see what I'm saying? Now, that goes back to the actual Atlanta project. Now, this is what we got. Like I said, I want to say these things again because I said it the other night. We had this because what we do is we always check things on the spiritual realm. And all you have to do is, we got enough spiritual gifted people to go and ask them serious knowledge where you would get the truth than to go in and ask them what sign I am and whether that nigga coming back or whatever type thing, or whether I'm going to get this house or whether I'm going to hit the lottery or whatever. You can use it to hit the lottery now too, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. But then again, that shouldn't be your primary focus. Because the more you learn to live without, you understand, the better off you will be, you see. Now, we got this, that in actuality, that they are going to, since it's a disease that is dealing with, since it's a disease that's dealing, that they cooked it up, that means the disease is already over here, or the virus. So what they're going to do is, the first thing they're going to do is, because every time we look, most of your black people run to the doctor, because they got all these damn free clinics. Like I said before, when I go to the doggone clinic and a man tell me he gonna pull 4 teeth for $14 a piece, when it costs $50 to $100 to pull 1 tooth, now you know something wrong, you see. But you know, I went to the free clinic, man, so I pulled 4 of your teeth for $14 a piece. I said, no, hell no you ain't, because we know that that's something wrong. Okay, then all of a sudden we know these free clinics and we know all this stuff, we know how they administer the stuff. Now Deborah Blair already came and told you that they're gonna start giving you these AIDS tests and gonna find out that you HIV positive. Well, come to find out, he was right. But the disease that they're gonna use is Ebola. Now, my man is, now we got the revolutionaries. I'm not telling people, if you got a gun or whatever, if you wanna go kill somebody, that's your business. But what I'm trying to tell you, like Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you can't fathom the depths of what this beast will go, and you better be ready to correspond. You're supposed to fight him on a higher level. Now the juice is coming for you to fight him on a higher level, and you want to get down there and match wits with him, but his nature is evil. So now the brothers, now Dale Jones attacking me, Delbert Blair, a couple other people that's dealing with metaphysics, he's attacking me now, attacking other people now, because they're into the revolutionary. They want to get the 1995 Black Panther Party going again. You see what I'm saying? But the key to the whole thing is, I'm saying this here, the cracker he ain't shit. The reason why he put out these assault weapons, because he's done abandoned that. Otherwise, you couldn't get the assault weapons. He put that out because that's old stuff. He used that in the 60s. You remember when the Mattel toy factory is the people who first invented the M16. And then they took that same Mattel toy and put it into metal and made the machine gun. So they had that back in World War I. You see what I'm saying? Now, the key to that is, he abandoned that for the simple fact, the only reason why you can go and buy these Uzis in a damn pawn shop is because he got a greater weapon now. So the Ebola Zaire, hell, you say you a revolutionary, he dropped that on you, what? You got doggone 8 hours to fight. The other damn 8 hours your ass sick, and 24 hours later you dead. You ain't got but 48 hours. So I'm saying, now look, if you're going to deal with the man other than 8 hours. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Other than 8 hours. You shooting bullets, he's shooting little pellets with the shit in it. And I'm saying you got to look at this kind of stuff. But there's a greater way to do this thing. So now, based on this, they're going to conclude that black people over here have come down with the Ebola. The reason why they showed you the movie Outbreak and they showed you that it was airborne, at first they told you that the disease could not be airborne. So they showed you what happens when it gets airborne in the movie. That's for the hysteria. The reason why they told them that is for the simple fact, once that the first people going to come down with it, you best believe it's going to be some black people. Because it's meant for you. Because it's a government warfare. So now when this thing comes down, the first thing they're going to say is look, we know we have identified a group of people with the race that it's in. So therefore, we got to quarantine them you got to quarantine black people for the simple fact that we don't want it to get airborne for the rest of America. And this sets up what? The King Alpha plan. Now we know that they've already closed down 37 army bases starting from 1989 up to now. That ain't including the concentration camps that they refurbished with from President Carter did from the Japanese thing. So we're talking about 37 facilities, and that's just army bases. Now, this constitutes, based on the Atlanta project, and let you know that this is coming in your back door, Atlanta being 85% black. And they're going to close down 13 high schools. And all it takes for a concentration camp for 13 high schools, 13 black high schools. Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this for a minute. If Atlanta is 80% black, we talking about Fulton County at least, where they had to build a 285 to contain you, and since they built the 285, black people has moved outside of the perimeter now. So many black people out there, they're starting to build a 385. Now, if they closed down 13 schools. Remember Jose Williams about to get locked up because he went in there and took over the meeting and all this here, and he had them ghetto people with him, and they was ready to throw down. And they should have went in there and cracked some heads and shit. You see, because he had the right brothers with him now. You see what I'm saying? What up, fool? So he had the brothers with him to do it. See, if I'm going to get down, I'm going to get down with the ones that are getting shot in the head every day. With the drive-by. That's the brother I want on my side. So now, anyway, they closed down 13 schools. Now, the next thing we know about them closing down 13 schools, let's say at the next fiscal year, what they going to do with all those people? Damn well, you know, doggone well, they're not closing down 13 black schools to go for these 13 black schools for white people's sake, because we want them to go to school with us. You see, and they closing down, isn't Carver one of them? Now, how in the hell they going to close down Carver, which is around Carver Homes, and white people saying we want the people from Carver Homes to go to Buckhead or Marietta or wherever? Come on now. The reason why they're closing them down is because they don't intend for you to be in school next semester. But they got to have that physical budget set before the school closes so they can know how much money to allocate to the schools that they are going to keep open. So therefore they had to close them down now. Now what's happening to those schools? They're showing you what they're doing to the projects in doggone Chicago, New York, and all. They're putting fences around them. And the only thing that makes that into a concentration camp is put a fence around it and put some army people around it. You saw that, how they doggone isolated that town. It was no problem. You see, when you go see Outbreak, it was no problem for the government. They was trying to get on top of the disease. Because it was no problem for the government isolated just like that. You see. So therefore, you must look at these particular incidents that's going on. Now, why is it that all these doggone buildings they done put up for the doggone Olympics, and then only the AU Center gets fucking football fields? But remember, Marcus Garvey said the first place where they're going to detain you is what? The football field. Now, they could have built the Dome Stadium any place, but right in damn Bayern City. But why did they build it in that particular area? Because they know that is the first place. And so this particular part of these 13 high schools that closed down is all a part of that whole King Alpha plan. You see, they were supposed to go in effect in 95. Now, what's going on? Like I said before, based on the cracker, knowing and based on the Matrix, you know the big books, the Matrix, based on Matrix 4 where they said it, the crackers, and you know they got all the information, sat around a table and they took all of the ancient scriptures. And even though the ancient scriptures said the year 2000, You can't go on this calendar, the Gregorian calendar, because the Gregorian calendar is what? 5 years behind. We thought it was 10, but it's 5. So based on that, once they have concluded all the scriptures that they had, all of them ran out in 1994. That's why when you get the book that they took off the market is called The Dramatic Prophecies of the Great Pyramids. A brother was gracious to send me a copy from Detroit, and the book was reprinted from the 1950s up to 1973. Until Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him that this is one of the books you need to be reading because it has the right prophecies that's on time. And right after he mentioned the book in his Theology of Time lectures, they took it off the market and it hadn't been printed since. But in the book it says that black people will take back the earth. And his scriptures run off 1994, 1995. Now another book, like I said, Elizabeth Clare Prophet's book, The Astrology of the Four Horsemen. Her little book, a little $4 book, $4 or $5 book, Elizabeth Clare Prophet. Her prophecies that started from 1987 run out in 1994 and 95. You see, 1994 and 95, right around the Siggy ceremony of the Dogon, which was done April 23rd of last year. Now, based on the science, the white boy knew that he had from 1985 up to now to do his thing. He's supposed to have locked you down in 85, but what's happening is he don't run this world. He's only a punk. The spirit runs this world. And we run this world in our subconscious, our higher self that we're going to get into. So therefore, he could not do it. The white boys, America has been weak ever since they got their behinds kicked. They haven't won a good war since the doggone Revolutionary War. Basically, the last good war they had was a war against themselves, was the doggone Civil War. You see what I'm saying? The rest of the wars was based on compromise and all that other kind of stuff. They got their behind kicked in Vietnam. Then they started getting embarrassed. They started getting their behind kicked back around by the people in Iran, in Iraq. And when you look at the per capita of the military might that the United States has, those wars supposed to be won. Vietnam was a loss to them, so therefore it meant that their cycle was over and they could not win any wars, and all they was doing a wolf ticket. Now remember, like I said, the Roman government, which was the Roman Empire, was the most powerful at that particular time after Egypt fell and all of this particular thing. But what happened was, I think it came like a 100-year period that they were weak. John Henry Clark talks about this. And he said that, but there were some European vandals that did not know the knowledge of the Roman Empire. Most people just went, you just don't mess with the Roman Empire. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, most people could have defeated them, but their doggone reputation, their reputation saved they behind for a couple of years, and they was calling this wolf ticket. These European vandals that didn't know about it went up into the Roman Empire and kicked their behinds with almost nothing. You see. So now America is weak. Now America know, based on this time cycle, that they are supposed to get things going. Now seem to me, if things is running out, even if you agree with the 1995 or you agree with the year 2000, seem to me you're going to get a jump on somebody behind. If it's 1995, you're going to do it in 1985. If it's the year 2000, you're going to do it in 1990. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to wait till the last day to try to spring this stuff up on them, because they know damn well the Nostradamus reports and all of the books written on Nostradamus, they took a passage out that the brother that wrote the book, the Ankh, I believe, found that passage in the Louvre in Paris, and they translated it out of Middle French, and once he was looking for some work on magnetism, and once they translated this part, there was a piece in there that came from Nostradamus where he said black people will come into their own in the 1990s. And they took that particular piece out. Now they took that particular piece out, and you don't see it in none of the books. So now the white boy knows if this is going to go on, even being one of his great military strategists, he claimed to be, seeing to me you would get to jump on a person 10 years before if you know this is going to come. But the reason why he didn't do it is because either 10 years or either by 1990, because he's calling a wolf ticket. You see. Then what happened is the New World Order does exist. There is a controlling factor of the government where Bill Clinton's job is just as good as your job. He got a job just like you, and he don't have no more power than you. He's nothing but a yes man. But we do know there is on most of the New World Order books, they have a ESPN number, ISBN number on it, which is the serial number for the doggone Library of Congress. So if it has an ISBN number on it, you know that the government meant for it to come out. But what happened was they had to make like that they were the strongest things ever. So they had to go in and take all of the knowledge of where they had had this conspiracy since 1776 or even earlier, and they had to put it all out, because now they could not control the people based on just the United States of America. So they had to put out the conspiratorial things to make the people scared again. It's basically to make you scared. So now this is how the Spirit does. The Spirit puts out the stuff. The Spirit is working here too. The Spirit knew that you had to know about a conspiratorial act. But so they give the white boy the ideas to put it out. So the white boys let all this stuff came out since 1990. He started letting all these books. And it's about 30 or 40 books out on the New World Order. Now, what happened was, that is to make you scared and for not for you to get into your occult science, which is that science which is hidden, because they say that they practice that stuff and they put it all into Satanism and all this, and you scared of your own shit. So they have to paint a ugly picture of who they are at first. Now the key to this is this. Y'all all right? Y'all understanding this? Okay, I don't know if I'm going too fast for you. Now the key to this is this. They wanted to put that out, and they wanted to get you scared again, because it's like the Freddy Krueger thing. They only go on your fears because they are weak. Now, they put out all these books, but something backfired on their behinds. Once they put out the books to scare you, the white boys who read the books, because we don't read nothing, they started reading the doggone book, and they started bringing up these militias to counter the New World Order. You see what I'm saying? To counter the New World Order. And that goes into what's going on with Oklahoma. Now, I should have the documents back here, because I went to Hampton University and the brother said we need some stuff for the people to have. So I let him have the documents, and he's supposed to Xerox the documents and mail them back to me that week. It's been 2 months now and I ain't got my stuff back. You know how that is. So now I'm calling the brother up tonight and say, look here, man, I want my shit Wednesday. But anyway, I got the documents where Janet Reno had a special strike force out against all militias. It's supposed to have been issued on March the 24th. Now, how many people was at my last 2 lectures I had in Atlanta back in March? Did I mention about the strike force? Did anybody hear me mention this thing? So now, I wanted to put on record, because we got the video right over here, where I had the actual information came from Detroit, Michigan, that they was going to start, because I got this big brother from Detroit, Michigan. He got a big fro. And this brother had his fro since the 70s. So I said, oh, brother, I said, that's coming back in style. He said, no, brother, I had mine since the 70s. And stuff. I said, oh, you one of them people that don't want to get rid of nothing. I said, so you caught some ridicule during the 80s. Anyway, he would send me, he has piles of information, and he sent me all these big piles of information on the New World Order. Because that's not because I'm into the metaphysics, and this, they got other people into different things, and each person's talent is supposed to give that. So now we fighting, like I said, Dale Jones, if that's your talent, fine, but you don't supposed to knock nobody else's talent, just like Steve Coakley, his talent, or whatever your area is, just like when you go to college, you have different talents and stuff. Now, so he said, we heard that they're going to have a special strike force as opposed to go against all militias on March the 24th. Now, when did this building was bombed? I think about a month later. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is the key. When I went to Indiana, first of all, I had to go down because they got this big concentration camp in Indiana that just opened up. It's got crematoriums that can burn up to 2,000 to 3,000 bodies a day. You see, and I saw the place. It's built off the Amtrak stations because they can take those trains and it's built from in the Amtrak station, and they can take your behind and ship you right in on the trains. Plus, also in the Matrix book, they told you about the train that derailed in 1991 that had shackles in it. And they said they didn't know how many that got through from Florida to Oregon, this route. But then, like I told you again, in January, one of my boys that lived in Jacksonville, Florida. His grandmama works and lives in Valdosta, Georgia, and he went up to do some work because he was working unloading trains, and when he got to one train, he found the shackles, and this was in January. Now the key to that, so most people, because you skeptics, the first thing some Negro gonna say is, oh, they just using them for the prison system, they just shipping them to prison. But why in the hell is these shackles being welded into the doggone train? Welded into the train, these shackles. So now, the next thing we get this particular information, I go down and we get this thing, this particular information about this crematorium, and I went down and spoke, and not only that, they say they have, the people that's going to do this stuff, a lot of the stuff, is the Russian troops, because they know that they're going to have to lock down some crackers too, because you see that with the militia thing. So they know that they're going to have white people in the military that's not going to have allegiance to the government when they see them locking down these crackers, and they know they're not going to have black people that's going to have allegiance to the government when they see them locking down the brothers. So they went and got the Russian troops from the old defunct Soviet Union. They got the Russian troops who don't know nobody over here. And on the back of all the signs all over the Midwest, and these signs that's leading to the concentration camp, because they can't speak English, they got red and blue markers and different color markers to tell them, and all they got to do is follow their particular marker, which is assigned to them. Just keep on the road and follow the marker, and it takes them straight to the concentration camps. But while we was in there, another brother handed me the complete document of Janet Reno's militia lockdown on the 24th. So what they do, the first thing they do is go blow up the damn building. And once they blew up the building, then the next thing I knew it. I had to go back to doggone Indiana for another lecture, and while I was there, they named these boys for the militia. You see what I'm saying? Now the first thing they did was, the last time they caught somebody in 2 days was what? Lee Harvey Oswald. And everything goes in a system. 2 or 3 days, it was the same thing like the Kennedy thing. Now this is interesting because they locked down these particular boys. Now, the last, I think Steve Coakley plus Bill Cooper. I know in 1992, both Steve Coakley and Bill Cooper told everybody, that's the white man and the black man, said that they're going to use the Ku Klux Klan and the skinhead organizations who you don't see, who don't put no habit on your life whatsoever. They scared to even cover your damn community. But they're going to use those as the icon and the people to pass the martial law bills against. And the martial law bills are not for them because you don't know who in the Ku Klux Klan. See, that's a myth. You don't know who the Ku Klux Klan is. See, the government knows who's all black. You see what I'm saying? Whether you Democrat, Republican, AKA or whatever. Baptist, Methodist, Sunday go to meeting with no shirt on, whatever. You all black, so they know that. But you don't know who the hell the Ku Klux Klan is. The Ku Klux Klan is 98% of the people who doggone you work for every doggone Monday through Friday. And like Tom Messer told you, our skin is our uniform. You see what I'm saying? So now they're going after the Ku Klux Klan, and you falling for this thing. And like Tom S. Metzger told Reverend Buffont, as you, what's the name of him? Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton, that's one of your favorite words. Al Sharpton, as he told him, look, Al Sharpton talking to you, Ku Klux Klan skinhead. He say, man, don't you know that any law you try to pass for me, told him that, and also Sister Soldier that was on there. He said, don't you know any law you pass for me is for you, nigga? You don't know who the hell the Ku Klux Klan is? It's crazy. You see? Say any law you pass for me is for you. So now both Bill Cooper and Steve Coakley told you in 1992 that they're going to pass these laws so you can vote against them, and you can get on the TV talking about the skinheads and all these doggone white supremacist groups, right? And the laws for you. So the first thing we do is what? You got some black woman got dreadlocks. She be on TV all the time talking shit about the white supremacist group. She don't know white supremacists from hell or high water. You see what I'm saying? And believe me, the Ku Klux Klan can't begin to kill as many black people as the government has done in their whole 100, 200 years of Ku Klux Klan. They haven't killed as many doggone people as the doggone government. And we know that the Ku Klux Klan is what? A secret society. And all you seeing with the white robes is nothing but the ritual outfits. Check? Check. So we know that they're all together. You see. So now, this is one of the main things they're doing. Why? To also put in the martial law bill. which the martial law bill is already passed. It's been passed since September based on what? The crime bill. But you didn't know when you give martial law, you immediately suspend the Constitution. But the key is you didn't know that for the simple doggone fact is, even though the Constitution is no more, they need to have an event to let you know, hey, we got rid of the Constitution back in September. So this is the key with this whole thing that's going down, you see. And all of this particular stuff that's going down, which means this. It's not to scare you up. This is beautiful time. You see, with no struggle, no gain. So now we've been waiting for this particular New World Order. And they say that our revolution will not be televised, but the Cracker Revolution is televised because he got to use the damn media to pull the shit off. So therefore, you got one up on him. Because he don't lie some of the time, he lies all of the time. Now the key to this is beautiful times. You see, when you talk about a plague, go look in your book of Revelations. Go look through the Bible. When you talk about Ebola Zaire, first of all, we God's people and this can't come off. Remember now, you know that the Exodus in the Bible was a prophetic history that's talking about what's going on now. Wasn't no people in bondage. That evil Pharaoh was meant king, which meant the evil people of America today. So what did Moses tell him? The next time you judge yourself, it'll be at your own hand. So he's judging his own self. You see, they say it's going to be a time when they're going to tell everybody to go to their people. Well, what has happened? They got the O.J. Simpson trial with what? They got a split people where you got white people saying they're doggone guilty and black people saying they're innocent. That is the whole thing that's going down to this great judgment. So we're talking about being right in the actual time. It can't get no worse. Hell, they got a disease that kill you in 48 hours. How much do we need to know? You see, a building don't have to fall on my head. If they got a disease that kill you in 48 hours, and then we see the same Strecker memorandum, we see that they killed the same two workers, the two white women that administered it. They didn't know it was given to people, so they made sure they shot their behinds up so they would die. So like they say, when the people start dying, they go, dang, ain't that the same guy that I administered the smallpox vaccine to? Oh, he died and that girl there, so they had to kill them too. Let you know that this thing was all planned out. You see, why? Because they keep telling you and you still thinking, man, do you think the disease will get here? No, nigga, the disease is already here. They took the disease to Africa with the World Health Council, the same one that gave them the smallpox vaccine and they broke out with AIDS. The disease is already here. They already had a test run for it when? They had a test run for it with the doggone Atlanta Project in 1993 when they brought in Michael Jackson and sung to all these people that they shot up 16,000 black children. Now, to get the black children to be concerned to go to the doggone places to get their immunization, which they used Spelman and Morehouse to do, and Clark and Morris Brown to volunteer to do, to get them to do that, what did they do? The first thing they did is they had spinal meningitis that they broke out in the white communities around Atlanta. And then they made like saying, well, it was too late for some of them. And we gave them the immunization. But it can't be too late for the black people, so black people lined up. It's a sign. So the whole thing is this whole Atlanta Project. Now, they cooked up the actual Ebola Zaire in 1976 to from the mid-80s to the late 80s. They cooked up the Ebola Zaire, the Ebola virus. They synthesized it with the Atlanta child murders with interferon and the Melanin experiments. They had to, because they understood that they wanted to have something that would kill you and not let your melanin ward it off. So therefore they started with the melanin. And they started testing it on the melanin carriers. And that's your whole Atlanta child murders thing. You see. And they cooked this thing up. Then they had to go and give a long 10-year or 15-year campaign on a lesser virus that would kill all the same that they got the doggone cure to as a guinea pig, and they used the AIDS thing so they could know how to control it so it wouldn't break out. And after that, the Ebola came. You see what I'm saying? But this is not going to be successful because like I say is when I see these things, I start smiling. Why? Because, I mean, we catching hell every day. And we ask God, when we going to get out of this shit? You understand what I'm saying? But some of you saying when we going to get out of it when you want the white man to give you better conditions in this society. You see what I'm saying? But our pact with the devil will not stand, because he cannot begin to give us anything, not even reparations, when it came to what? All the billions of people that he killed. You see what I'm saying? Now, how is it that we identify the devil now? We identify the devil. He is responsible for what we are not, but we are responsible for our own liberation. Well, hell, how you going to identify the devil and then expect the devil to do good by you by paying you reparations? You see what I'm saying? What is $20,000? You give it to most black people, they'd be done spend it up in 2 damn days anyway. Because all you want to do is go to the fucking malls and stuff, and the others and stuff else. My man John Steger said one of his brothers hit the lottery and drunk up over damn $20,000 worth of liquor. So what are you talking about? But see, the thing about it, if you get that money, you'll never get out of this situation, because that's all you will want, and nobody will never be able to tell you nothing about consciousness no more. Long as you can go to that damn mall and buy that stuff that cracker invent, you'll never want to hear this stuff, because that's the way it is now with the haves and the have-nots. Most of the people can't bear witness to this stuff because they still stuck in what? The comfort zone. Check. So now, we understand this particular thing, so now it's beautiful, because I rejoiced the day I heard it broke out. But first of all, I knew that the cracker put it out. And I knew that everything that he put out is going to be reversed for him. So I rejoiced, because you said, oh Lord, it's a disease, and I hope to get it. If you're conscious and you do the right thing, the spirit will bypass you for the simple fact you're the light bringers. But therefore, on the other hand, it would never get to that particular level. It would never get to that particular level. Okay, that's what? That's my brother. I think he that's my brother. I think he got my mama. She coming through. She just visiting town, so I think they're trying to fool her, because she didn't. I don't know. She wanted to go someplace and they took her right here. She not here? Okay, cool. So y'all will get to meet my mama for the first time, and she a trip too. I'm gonna try to do the lecture, because I don't want her to start talking, because she loud as hell too. So now, let's go into some things. First of all, you want to get a book. Name of the book you want to get is called Secret of the Andes. I had them to order about 5 copies. I had them to order about 5 copies. It's called Secret of the Andes by Brother Philip. Brother Philip is a person by the name of George Hunt Williamson. He wrote the book of the Tongues of the Flesh, which you must get. He was abducted by 2 black men from Sirius in the 1950s, but they appeared white to him. And he gave out this particular information. Now, he wrote the other book, Secret of the Andes. I got the book in 1983. It came, I think it was reissued back in 1983 or 82. He put out that one and Other Tongues of the Flesh before he died. Now, this book was written, this particular book came out in 1961. And he's going by the name of Brother Phillips. He has different alias names. Another one of his books is called The Secret Places of the Lion. But this particular book, he goes under the name of Brother Philip. Now, in his actual channelings that was given to him from some black people from Sirius. So when you get the book, but by him, when you get the book, what's going to happen is, by him being in the 50s, he knew that he had to come from a Christian perspective. So a lot of the stuff is coming based off the Bible, which is good, because that's what you can understand. You understand what I'm saying? Other stuff can be too complicated, but most of you should know your Bible. You see what I'm saying? But now, he wrote this book called Secret of the Andes. Now, as a result, what happened was, there are several things that's going on. I'm going to give you some of the actual stuff that's going on in there, in the actual book. You come on in. This is my mother. She's standing out at the door. Let's see. This is my mother. She's standing out at the door. Her name is Hemmitt and all. And this is Mother's Day, so she blew in town and all, So, y'all can give her a big hand, Yeah. And she just retired from school teaching in 1990 and all, so so we taking on this thing from another knowledge perspective. Now, this book here is dealing with some actual science on page 170, where it says, "Oh man, realize that you are the highest form of deity in the omniverse. There is nothing beyond you. And this is grand, in this that you are the lowest. You are the lowest because you know and the other ones don't know. Therefore you must be the brother and their servants. So they also mean this. If you look at the tree of life, now let me get a picture of this. Let me get a picture of this. Well, I guess I'm going to have to start using the Necronomicon one. I wanted to show you another type of tree of life. But I guess I'll use this one. Let me get that tree of life for you. Where did I put it? Everybody understood the Sephra. Well, I'll get one in a few minutes. What they mean is this. This is the Kabbalah. This is the tree of life. As you can see, this is Keva, which is the top scale. This is you down here. You are the lowest, you are the root. But anything is the root is the more primal or the most potent. You are the lowest, so therefore you are the lowest, but on the other hand, because you are low, the other planets are waiting on you. Because if you understand the Kabbalah, the root chakra rises to the top. Now remember, this is just like your body. Just like you have your Kundalini chakra, which rises to the top, to Keva, which is your crown chakra. So he says that you are the highest deity in the omniverse. And he says this here, they put you over all the animals. So by you being the brother's keeper, it's just like your mother or something. She has to wait and sacrifice for you because the other ones are not as fortunate as you. Check? Now, it says that the earth was a school for gods. The earth is a school for gods. Man shall harvest upon the earth. Man who has lost the vestige of the human, and those who are on earth today, it is written that the harvest is great. That's talking about you, black people. Now it says that the earth is a classroom for gods, or the godhood. Not Mars, not Venus, not Jupiter, not magnificent Saturn, nor spiritual Neptune, nor Pluto, nor Mercury, nor even the sun and its bodies. Thus the lotus rises from the earth. The lotus is the lotus that you see that grows along the Nile Valley, the lotus that you see papyrus. It rises upon the earth. So they're saying that in actuality, this was a classroom for gods. So what happened is this. They put you here as an experiment, and they took the vibratory rate and they made it go down to a lower level. So therefore, when you first came here, you were gods. And you had these 12 cosmic power, these 10 cosmic power zones that was open in you, and you were gods. And everything that you see the superheroes could do, you could do tenfold or 1,000 times. What happened was the vibratory rate fell after so many thousands of years, and you got encased into this mummified body. And this is the mummified body, which is the vessel that you have been limited with, and this is the prison house as well as the earth being colony earth. And all you got to do now, what you're going to do is you're going to go and get, you say, well, I ain't never read that stuff in my Bible, because your Bible comes from the Kabbalah. Now the precursor to the Bible is the Kabbalah. Now if you want to get a Bible, the Kabbalah understanding, let's say, the spheres and the Sephras and the cosmos and the actual chakras and the centers in your body, then you're going to get William Gray's book, Ladder of Lights. Or you're going to get Dion Fortune's book, Mythical Kabbalah. Now, if you want to understand biblical scriptures, now you want to find out, because that's the Kabbalah, that's the scientific Kabbalah that the ancient priests used. Now remember, you have in spirituality, you have esoteric religion, exoteric religion. In esoteric religion, exoteric would be your major world religions. But the Christians, they have the Gnostics, where the priests went and learned how to be Christ. You know, Jesus went, the Essenes, the Sethians. The Hebrews had the Kabbalistic. And also they also had what you would call the ancient Egyptian mystery system. The Islamic has what? The Sufi Muslims. The Buddhists have what? The yogis. So each time you have a school that is on the exoteric level, you have an esoteric school where the priests learn how to go and raise themselves up to godhood. So now you have your esoteric Bible or Torah. Your exoteric is the Kabbalah. Or your book of coming forth by day. That's your esoteric, which would be your hidden. Now, you have several Kabbalists that's going to tell you how to go up these spheres, and each sphere represents a chakra, represents a planet, it represents an angel and all of that. But if you want to understand the scriptures out of your Bible, you're going to get Waite's Holy Kabbalah. This is Waite's Holy, A.E. Waite is his name. It's called a Holy Kabbalah. The study of the secret doctrines of Israel as unfold as the sons of the doctrines and the benefit and the constellation and of the elect and the dispersed through the greater lands of exile or greater exiles. Now this is coming from Citadel Press. So now this is the book that you want to get that is dealing with the scriptures. Now, we want to deal with a couple other things before we go into these particular things. Now, there was a monumental work that came out in 1990. No black people got this thing for some reason. None of the scholars that bypassed all of them because they do not deal with the metaphysical realm. Now, this book is coming from an African brother on the continent. He's from the continent. And then his name is Ahmed Osman, A-H-M-E-D O-S-M-A-N, Ahmed Osman. The name of it is Moses, Pharaoh of Egypt. Now, I knew the story based on several other sources and based on the scholars. But when I got this book, I could not put it down because there was pieces, like I said, he said the things that he couldn't get from the Bible, he got from the Quran, he got from the Torah, he got from the book of coming forth by day. So they say, he who knows one book knows none. There's no religion higher than truth. T.W. Doone's book, Bible Myths and its Parallel. Good book you need to get. T.W. Doone's book, Bible Myths and its Parallel. He said that I was taking this so-called Bible around the world to the heathens because I was a mercenary. But when I got a missionary, whatever, same thing, damn devil. They say when he came to Africa, we had the land and he had the Bible. When he left, we had the Bible and he had the damn land. So he said when I was there, I took the Bible and he said, and these so-called heathens now, and I got this so-called holy book. Yet the heathens lived a greater, most harmonious lifestyle than me and all my people in Europe in the history that I have ever known of white people with my damn book. He said, then I threw down the book and knew that there is no book, he who knows one book knows none, and there's no book, no truth greater, there's no knowledge greater than truth, or no religion greater than truth. So you have to use all these books, you see. Now, this is the deal. You don't go to college and damn use one book. You don't go to high school and use one book. You see what I'm saying? Now, we're dealing with Akhenaten. The life of Moses, there is no record of the life of Moses in recorded history other than the Hebrew scriptures, even though Moses did exist. Now this is the key. If you parallel the life of Moses and parallel the life of Akhenaten, the life of a heretic king that grew up in the Pharaoh's house and ended up getting kicked out of Egypt was Akhenaten. Now this is the key. You need to get Donald Redford's book. Donald Redford's book, Akhenaten, the heretic king. In the book, they started doing the same thing we started doing. The young people, now this is 2,000 years ago. Let's say 2,500 years ago. They started going out all night and partying. The younger people. The older people kept saying, oh, they don't listen to us no more. And the younger people kept saying, oh, I don't want to hear what them old people saying. It's all in the book. Now, this is when we started declining. Okay. At that particular time, you had the priesthood of Amun and the priesthood of Ptah warring against each other. It wasn't because the doggone gods was better than the other gods. It's never because the gods are better than the other gods. It's like the doggone Baptists and the Methodists. Don't mean that the God is different. It just means that your political agenda and your egos have crept into the particular thing, and you got a utility that you're using the religious for to bring your particular religious or your political agenda into action, and so therefore it doesn't have anything to do with the actual religion becoming corrupt. You see what I'm saying? So what happened was, you had Queen Tai, who was from Ethiopia. She ascended the throne and said, look, I'm going to put an end to this mess. I'm getting ready to have this spiritual child. You could do that, remember. You go in and do the sex tantra and do the right thing and have this spiritual child. Now, when we go deeper into this thing, I got some good stuff on sex tantra. You need to start doing this sex tantra. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to show you some things on how to do. And so they would do this particular thing and have this spiritual child. So she had Akhenaten. And when he grew up, he said, well, hell, I'm going to go and take the older religion, which would be Atan, which comes from the word Medura Atan, word of the sun in Sirius, Atan, which is also a form of the god Ra Heru-Kahuti of the city of On. So he established this particular religion. Now listen to this. Now this is where the story starts getting familiar with what you know. He reigns for 15 years, and then he gets kicked out because the army said, damn that. He busted up the priesthood, and the priesthood got leverage back. They kicked him out. Guess where he fled? He fled to Sinai. He fled to Sinai. Now he had a defective priest from the priest of Amun-Ra that was hanging out with him. When he fled to Sinai, he took a group of his mother's people with him. You see, the Hebrews was what? Northern Ethiopians, which is there today. So he took a group of his mother's people with him to Sinai. Now what happened is this. By him growing up into Egypt, because remember now, all we talking about here is this. We talking about families of black people. No white people in the caves at this time. So no white people, no Chinese, no nothing. So your Hebrews, your Semitics, your Sumerians, your early Greece, the first Greeks were black. Your first Romans were black. Your Carthage, all of those particular people we talking about black. All of your Mesopotamians, everything black. So now, this group of black people is nothing but a family fight going on. He takes this group of black people and takes them to Sinai with them. These was his mother's people, greater Ethiopians, which later on your whole Hebrew thing comes from, which is traced there today, the real Hebrew. So, by him growing up into Egypt, he could not speak the language because he grew up in Hemmitt. He couldn't speak the Ethiopian language. The actual priest that had defected from the priesthood of Amun-Ra, which was Musa, because you know the word Moses, Up-Moses, Tuck-Moses, and it was a Musa, which was a common Egyptian name. Get Moses and Monotheism by Sigmund Freud. Moses and Monotheism by Sigmund Freud. He took this priest with him. This priest was a defective priest and joined on the side with Akhenaten, and he could speak the language of the people. So the people got their particular training and their teachings from Musa, or the actual priest of Akhenaten. Now, remember now, the Holy Torah was not written to when? 700 years after the death of Musa or Moses. So now, 700 years ago, they do not know, well, they do know Akhenaten, but they do not know Akhenaten as well as they knew the actual teacher, or the emancipator based on the teacher, the priest that taught them. Taught them the scriptures, the Kabala, which I showed you the Kabbalah coming off the temple of Como in Egypt. Taught them the scriptures, right? So now, so once they wrote the Torah, what happened? They used the teacher, and they took the life of Akhenaten and transferred it and said it was Moses' life, and it's all in this monumental work. Moses, Pharaoh of Egypt. The Akhenaten Mystery Unsolved is by Paladin Books, Paladeen, subsidiary of, I think, what's the name of that book company? Anyway, you can get this particular book, you can get it next door, because we'll make sure we get them next door. That way you don't have to go all over town. But this is a key book. Now, dealing with the Holy Kabbalah, this book. In this book, they're going to tell you there's a particular part in this book called the Book of the Concealed Mysteries. Let me show you what a concealment is. A concealment is a place, a compartment. It's also a circle. The concealed mysteries, you see this tree of life here. This tree of life is nothing but a representation of the stuff that is in your body. The concealment, or the crossing over point, is this particular part right here called Darth. The black dot, where you get Darth Vader from. There's a whole chapter in here called the Book of the Concealed Mysteries. Another book you're going to get is McGregor Mather's book. F.L. McGregor Mather's book, Kabala Unveiled, that deals with the Book of the Concealed Mysteries. Now, in this particular part, they say the ones who have the concealment is God. How do you know he's God? In here he says, because again, it goes back up, that he would have hair of lamb's wool. You see, coming out of the doctrines that they fashioned the Bible from. Now, during the time of the Messiah, there's a part in here on the coming of the Messiah. Now the Messiah or the Mesu, which means teacher, but Christ means the anointed one. One that is kissed with the blood of Christ, and this is called the Holy Grail, the blood of Jesus, the black dot. That's the blood of Jesus. Christ means son. And there's a son in you called the black dot. Now in here, they say when the Christ comes, and you see this in the book of Revelation, I'm going to give you a new heart, a new soul, a new spirit. That's in the book of Revelations. In here they talk about this. Then they say this. They say, and then the intruders will immediately be eliminated. Those who fail to ascend the house of Jacob. Now who is Jacob? Jacob is known as the Jacob's ladder. Where's the Jacob's ladder? Remember now, everything in the Bible is esoteric other than exoteric. A place. When they say Jerusalem, that's your soul in the Kabbalah. When they say Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. Isis, which is the mother, Aset. Isis, which is the mother. Ra, which is the son. And El, which means what? It means God and it means son. The son of the son. So now, where's the house of Jacob? The house of Jacob, they say ascending Jacob's ladder. Where's Jacob's ladder? The Holy Kabbalah is Jacob's ladder. Now, they said, but the intruder. Now, what is an intruder? An intruder is a person that intrudes on the normal life wave or the normal stage of evolution or the stage of things. You were going fine. Then you created this intruder. Right? And then you created this intruder. But he's a genetic mutation. And he intrudes on the normal life wave of things. They said, but the intruder will be immediate extermination. Why? Because he cannot go up the house of David but to this far. When he gets to the black dot or the spear of Darth, because he has a calcified pineal gland, the energy burns him up. Because the Kundalini energy is called the hell's fire. Hell's fire is good. Everything is esoteric. You burning up in hell's fire. When the phoenix burns up from the ashes, he rises up into spirit. Hell's fire. See what I'm saying? Which is the Kundalini, this is another form of the tree of life. The serpent, which is the Kundalini, the hell's fire. Once it hit the black dot, the wings come. The white boy having a calcified pineal gland, he's an intruder that they call him in here. He has complete extermination because they didn't say he had extermination. They said because it's metaphysical now. He fails to enter the house of Jacob. Or he fails to ascend the house of Jacob. So when you look in the index and look up intruder in here. Now, also they said the intruder, once the Christ rise with your third eye open and this illusionary world disappears, they say the intruder will no longer have power over you with all his luxuries. That's the only reason why you don't want to do nothing. You're too busy trying to get that shit out the mall. That's it. Everybody trying to get paid. Cracker trying to get paid too. See what I'm saying? Everybody trying to get paid. But the cracker got a machine that turn the machine on him what? He prints the doggone money, so you never get ahead of the cracker that got a machine to print the money. And you talking about money is power. You talking about you work 100 years and shake your butt for some little bit of dollars. I don't care if you get 10 million. Money is power. And the cracker got a machine and he can turn on the machine and get the money in doggone 2 seconds. $10 million bills. And who's on top? Check. So now, this particular part that you talk about here, where he says the intruders will no longer have control over you with all his luxuries. Now another book that they're selling next door is called Robin Robertson, The Beginner's Guide to Revelation. There's a part in there they talk about the lukewarm. And they said the false prophet, which is the white man, he will have half the people, because the people don't want to get involved. They don't want to do nothing because they're in the comfort zone. That's us. Well, not you, because you all are coming out on a Sunday to deal with it. But you know what we're talking about, the deaf, dumb, and the blind. Check? Check. So now, this particular Kabbalistic material that they're talking about here, this is one of the key books. Now, let's go on. Y'all all right? Let me tell you, let me know when you want to do a little intermission. Let me know when you want to do one, when we're going to go and stuff. Now, you have the Enochian text. The Enochian text is angelic alphabets. It comes from the book of Enoch that's taken out of the Bible. But there's a book of Enoch, which is the exoteric scriptures, which is one of the books of the Bibles. There's an esoteric scriptures, there's some angelic language called the Enochian language. It's an angelic alphabet. It was brought up into England by the Moors that ruled Spain for 700 years. Just after that, Queen Elizabeth's magician got a hold to it and started writing these particular texts. He started translating the text of these other texts that came out of the University of Salamanca. These texts was angelic texts, but he never could explore these texts. He couldn't explore these texts because, like I said, these texts, when the European, even to mess with this particular stuff, he would just burn up. His body would just catch on fire. There's a book coming from school out of England, talk about fires from heaven, how people eternally combust. And it's talking about white people burning up. So the white people could never deal with these Enochian texts because they come up with stab wounds, cut wounds, and all of this particular stuff. So they couldn't deal with these particular deities. But they couldn't explore them. Aleister Crowley, who had the black dot, who was incarnated into a white body that looked white, but he had to have melanin to go up the ethers. The ethers, there's 30 ethers. And the 30 ethers is called the dark night of the soul, which is melanin. There's 30 of them. And you go up to these particular realms of melanin, and if you don't have the black dot, you can't get up on these 30 ethers of melanin. So now, Aleister Crowley went up there and had an account of these 30 ethers, of these particular 30 ethers. There's an account in this book, The Enochian World of Aleister Crowley, Enochian Sex Magic. Now, because we're going to deal with all that today. Y'all stick with me. Now, these Enochian deities, they have traced these angels that kill these white people. They trace the language back, and they can't find the language nowhere on the planet but the African tribes. These are nothing but your higher selves. These Enochian deities. And this particular book, Enochian World of Aleister Crowley, is dealing with those Enochian deities that they are talking about, and that is this particular book that you're going to get. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to go into some things with some visual things, because what I want to do today is to show you a visual representation of what's going down here. Now, first of all, in 1980, in the early 1980s at Fisk University, Fisk got a grant from the government to do studies on skeletons, skeletal remains. They concluded after their studies that all white people have tails, except 1 out of 5 have a protruding tail, which is a pronounced tail. But all white people, on the inside of them, they have tails. They have tails. They got this particular information. The government told them not to print this particular information. If they printed it, it was going to shut them down. But what happened is they didn't print it as far as it being national, but they printed a series of articles around Nashville. And as a result, Fisk went broke in the early 80s until President Henry Ponder came, who was the head of the Alpha Phi Alpha and was one of the buddies to Ronald Reagan and Strom Thurmond. He came and they got their right nigger up in there and he bailed them out. Now, as a result, they had concluded that all white people have tails, but It's a tailbone. Now, it's interesting because like I did this lecture in November on Martin Luther King in 1993, and one of the brothers was in the lecture, went back to his job and started telling the people this particular information on his job. A white boy overheard him and called him and said, you know, you're right. He said, I went to the doctor from a back injury, a football back injury, and when I went there, the guy showed me my spinal cord and showed me my x-ray, and I saw a tail sticking out. He said, damn, doctor, what's that? And the doctor said, that's your tail. He said, that's your tail. Remember now, everything the white people telling you was them, was us, was them. He said, that's your tail. And so what happened was, 1 out of 5 have this tail. 1 out of 5, the tail is pronounced, but they amputate them at birth. Now, this is one of the actual pictures that we got. This one is coming from England of the white boy with the tail. Now, and now there's some better pictures. One of the brothers over at the AU Center got about 5 or 6 ones that's even better graphics. But now this particular tail, it was interesting when I got a good friend named Yusuf that live on Simpson Avenue, and he said that on Simpson Street, he said that he had a sister that worked with these white people. And he said it was rich white people, and his sister used to go in, they had a door, and it had a little door in a room, and the door was always locked, and it had a little place under the door where she would slide food up under there. And she said one day she was working and the damn door was open. And she went, you know, she was sliding food and leave. She said she would hear this swing set in there all the time. And she said she opened the door and was a little white boy with hair all over his body, swinging on a swing with a tail. And she said, and swinging on a swing with a tail. And she said she threw the food up in there and got out of there and started running. And she said she ain't never returned. But this is one coming from England and stuff, and it was dealing with that particular one as far as the actual tail, but also the information is coming from Fish University, and they almost shut them down because of them and this particular tail, that they almost shut them down. Now it's interesting. Now let me show you some other thing. Also, now this is interesting. Let me show you this. Now, in the temple of Biblium El Manuk, now this is key. Some of you heard this before in my lectures, but I want to say this. How much? 10 minutes? Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to conclude with this. We're going to do an intermission, and we're going to come back and we're going to roll some more. But I want to say this because I want them to get a certain book. Now, in the temple of Biblium El Manuk, which is Ramesses V, is 4 races of men: the Ruti, the Nessi, and the Hemmu, and the Tamahu. The Ruti and the Nessi are the most ancient of men. That's your West African and East African. Your Hemmu is your Mesopotamian, which would be a person that had already the mutant has started filtering down, and you would have a person that looked like me. Wouldn't be now Semitic. Wouldn't be the white man you see now that's calling himself a damn Semitic. You see what I'm saying? That's a European that was inverted into Judaism in doggone Europe. In Spain, get Arthur Koestler's book, The 13th Tribe, converted into to Judaism. It has nothing to do with the original Semitic at all. This was a person that looked about like me. You see what I'm saying? Or it would look like a person from India, but not even them lighter Indians. You see that Indian look blacker than you with that straight hair that think he better than you. That's because the white man, England taught them that kind of shit. Anyway, the Ruti, the Nessi, and then you would have the white man, which is called the Tamahu. Tama meaning created and Hu meaning white, light, and bright. You will get your particular, if you want to read more on the Tamahu and that whole thing, get Champolion's account recorded in Sheikh Anta Diop's book, African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality. But Sheikh Anta Diop, being married to the mutant, left out the particular passage of the book explaining the whole thing where they say at the end of the temple of Biblium. Now this was a temple that explains all of this stuff. The temple of Biblium El Manuk, or the temple of Seti I, built by Ramesses II, which you know of as Ramesses the Great, at the age of 21 for his father Seti I, Ramesses I. Now, that account of the bas reliefs of Biblium El Manuk in that particular passage comes out of Geromancy book of the Beginnings, volume One. But I have a new book with the Kemetic documents of the white man called a human artificial, where I had so much documents on this white man being created, as well as the Kemetic documents of Yakub put out by Donald Raffles of 1992 in a book, Israel, Canaan, and Egypt in the Holy Land in ancient times, where they give you the shrine of Yakub Kerr with the Hyksos worship, which is the same Yakub that Elijah Muhammad talked about in the book of Revelation, on the temple walls. So every time one of these hotshot scholars from the white man university come back and try to tell you that shit about we created from monkeys, that's even Charles Finch. And I always try to doggone buck the man with the third grade education. Now, stuff is coming out with a third grade education. The man with the third grade education was right in all. Because you got a theory of the monkey thing coming from Darwin's theory, the white man. But you have the archaeological and anthropological evidence at the Temple of Seti I, where they said that the Ruti and the Nessi created the Tamahu and the Amu. The Amu would be your Asian. Your Asian. Other particular documents on Yakub, his name was Wale Tom. This is one of the names. Comes from Atlantis. Wale Tom. We got this particular information. He had a student named Rostan. They created the white man in the caves, we come to find out. This is where we found out that was one of the laboratories. So now we was trying to find out how could they create them in Africa and drive them up. But remember now, all of the land was what one time? One landmass before continental drift. The incubation and the actual laboratories was in the caves. And this is what we found out. That was the last key. Now, this particular Tamahu and this particular part comes from the Temple of Biblium El Manuk. Also, you want to get the creation of the white man, a good book, you can get it from Health Research, that came out 10 years before Master Farah Muhammad even came to the United States to teach Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The white boys had the information coming out of England off of the temple walls, and the guy Rudolf Steiner, his book Atlantis and Lemuria. In the book it talks about Manu, who took a gene and created a new race of men. Manu, once we found out, was actually the teacher of Yakub. In the book it talks about the moon being separated from the earth. See? So we got the white boys that got what is called a hidden history. They're telling the same story that Honorable Elijah Muhammad told. Same story. Book written way before Master Farah Muhammad came here. You see what I'm saying? Now, Manu taught genetic engineering. Can the white boy do genetic engineering now? Go see the movie. Go see the movie Dave. Because the movie Dave, even though they said the movie Dave was about Bill Clinton, the movie Dave was actually about the cloning of Bill Clinton. The white boys gave me this information out in Buckhead, that Bill Clinton was a clone. Now, I would not be inclined to take the white boys' advice, but I saw what was on the white. I saw this white boy had been abducted by some UFOs. They had put some microchips in him, and he dug one of them out, but he was showing me a place on his leg where he couldn't get the other one, and he said when the white boys want to, they're going to turn this thing on and kill him. You see. Now, this white boy came all the way from doggone some part of Florida, and just so he came actually to meet with me, but what happened was, just so happened I went to the cracker store, and the white boy was saying that Bill Clinton was a clone, and they took the movie Dave. Go see the movie Dave. It's about the cloning of Bill Clinton. You see what I'm saying? Also, they took a grand anniversary in 1982 where they made the movie Blade Runner to celebrate the Yakub story in the future. And the Blade Runner movie is about the androids, but the androids got blood and stuff. They're white people. And they took the movie Blade Runner to celebrate the Yakub story. And then they went, and in 10 years later, in 1992, they put out another editor's cut. You can get the Blade Runner story, and the Blade Runner story is all about the Yakub story. But Manu, they were doing genetic engineering. They do cloning now. They had a whole thing in Discover magazine on genetic engineering, white man playing with God. It was called Playing with God in the summer of 1993. Now, hell, if the white man can do it now with that much of knowledge, what you think black people could do with 160 degrees of knowledge, 360 degrees of knowledge? You see what I'm saying? There's nothing new under the sun, only that which has been forgotten. So now in this particular fable, Manu, they learned how to graft the black boar genetically. They started out like you dissect frogs. They dissected a black boar and turned the black boar into what you see the pig today. That's why it's good to get the Theology of Time, the big volume, where they say that the white boy used to get sick until he started taking the pig and using it for a medicine for his diet. That's why his breakfast consists of most of the pork. You see. But they took a black boar and turned it into a white boar. After they learned how to do this by gene splicing, Yaqub and his particular student Rostam went up into Europe and started what you would call incubating and started genetically mutating these particular white people based on genes. They didn't have to use people. They can use the cells to do it. But they would gene splice. And when you gene splice something, it is never the procreation. It is never 100% the creation of what the original thing is. Because you cut out. So they use gene splicing. Rostam later on went to Asia and mutated a particular mutant there. Because the original Asians are all black people. And they got a plague of these particular other late Asians, even though they are more closer to the original hominid stage than the white man, but still yet they are mutated, and they don't have the pineal calcification. They have the pineal calcification. But you can understand that their particular behavior is almost the same, Japan and all that. And so when the European was losing ground and he had to get another race to share this dominancy with him, he chose the Japanese. You see, because he understood the whole mutant thing. But they understood that in Japan they worshipped the ninja, who was the original black man, and therefore they used to cover their face all the way up to the eyes to represent the blackness of the ninja. Just as the fake Jew covers himself up in black, the Lubavitch Jew that represents melanin, and he wears the hair rouge lock. Now, it's interesting about this particular thing. We're going to do this last thing, and we're going to break and go to intermission. It's interesting about, and do me a favor, somebody do me a hat pass for the Bobby Hemmitt Electricity Foundation. For those ones that know, and the cracker cut off my lights Saturday and all that. I'm in the dark. So for anybody that want to contribute, y'all go ahead and do that, but you ain't obligated to do nothing. But if you people see people putting something in the hat and you feel a little neglected or alienated, be feel to put in too, so therefore we won't discriminate, so you can have a chance to put your money in there too. Now, in the temple of Biblium El Manuk, I'm going to pass this book around before we get out. In the temple of Biblium El Manuk, he's going to pass the hat around for the Electricity Foundation. There's a part in the Biblium El Manuk. Now listen, this particular temple, I have pictures of it in the late 1800s, or an entire temple. I see no more pictures of this particular books, of this particular temple at all until 1989. But when I see the new pictures, they have completely torn down the temple and put up a whole brand new temple. Why? Because not only does this temple have the origins of the white man, because the Ramesside kings was interested in doing the origins of the white man, the priest that put the temple together, because the temple is nothing but a storybook. It's like a book. You go to this book in this temple, this book in this temple. And it's also the breakdown of your body. They were interested also, it wasn't, not only were they interested in telling about the white man being created, but in there, they told some stuff of the book of Revelation. I'm going to show you the book you need to get. And in this particular part, I'm going to pass this picture around, and too bad I didn't get it on the acetate, on the overhead, but I'll pass it around. Now, when you see these two pictures, understand one thing. When Napoleon, up until Napoleon came back in up until now, they have literally repainted all the temples, and some of the things that you are seeing in there where you see lighter pictures is because the crackers in his excavation of the University of Chicago has gone in and started repainting them doggone temples, and they paint them lighter. You see what I'm saying? Also, some of the hue has faded and they are mistaking it for white. So when you see some of these pictures and all, they have painted them lighter. But you make no mistake with this. In this particular part I'm going to show you, they reversed it. The crackers reversed it. They're showing pictures of white people getting their heads cut off. This is Biblium El Manuk. This is Napoleon's artist. And you want to pass this around and show people. First of all, can you zoom into that? See, can you zoom in? There's pictures here of people standing over them with their heads cut off. Now, if you notice, the Napoleon artist has shown white people cutting black people heads off. See what I'm saying? Remember, in actuality, it's the black people cutting white people heads off because these are the Egyptians doing it. These are the Kemet. You passed it this way too? Everybody got a chance? Did they get some of that in that thing there? Okay. I just want to know now. I don't want you to discriminate against nobody. Now, I'm going to pass this around and show you this. Now, you pass it around and show people the particular picture of these people. Huh? Okay. What is happening here is this. There is a papyrus that goes along with it in the British Museum. And it's talking about the god Heru Behutet. Behutet means this. Hold up. Behutet means this word, the Sumerian word or the Chaldean word is Hadit. The Hadit point, black dot point. In here is going to be a papyrus called the Legend of the Winged Disc of Edfu. From fetish to the god of ancient Egypt, E. Wallace Budge. They got a few over next door. In here there's going to be a papyrus called the Legend of the Winged Disc, the Legend of Heru Behutet. Behutet is the black dot. Heru is also means the Christ, the black dot. The Legend of Heru Behutet is going to be talking about how when the Messiah comes up, the Messiahs, because you all have the black dot in you. There's going to be an evil race of people that's going to try to escape. But you're going to have flying machines, flying arcs. Those flying arcs that you know of is the spaceships. And in here they're going to try to get away, but you're not going to let them get away, and you're going to be cutting off their heads. It's in the book. But they identified the Legend of Heru Behutet, Winged Disc of Edfu. But who do they identify with it? Behutet means the black dot, so they have identified the people that's going to be cutting off the crackers' heads. And that's where you get the movie Highlander from. In here is going to be another, but before you get to that papyrus, you get to the destruction of mankind, or kind of man. Another papyrus, where the people conspired against Ra. Ra is a god of blue-black tint. The construction of mankind, where these people conspired against Ra. And he let loose the god Sekhmet, or Sekhmayat, which is the lion-headed deity the Sphinx is named after. Or you call him the Lion of Judah in Rastafarianism. He let go Sekhmet, and Sekhmet, Ra called Sekhmet back, and they let him go. That's talking about the first fight. But in the second scripture, in here, the Heru of Winged Disc of Edfu, they show them Heru, and they're talking about you cutting off their heads. Now, when we come back from the break, I'm going to go into the science of what they mean by that. Also, we're going to give you the stuff that they wanted to keep you from is called the black man's magic. All the priests had magic. They later on call it black magic to keep you out of it because you thinking that's the scared stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to deal with that. We'll just put this over here. Anybody else want to deal with the electricity fund? We do that now. Now, so when we come back, we're going to go for the break. When we come back, we're going to deal with this particular stuff and a whole lot of other stuff because I got some bad behind pictures. I ain't even started with the pictures yet. So y'all come back and see this visual view because this is the brand new show, new and improved. Check. We need them all because like I got about 5 cops, 5 policemen that's in the city of Atlanta police, and now they got their meetings. And so now they're there to get brothers, deprogram brothers and sisters off the police force so they can be an armed black nationalist dream. A group of black men that's trained to kill. And they right there at the city of Atlanta police. I see them and all. And they've already contacted me and they're ready to get down. Yes, they say they're dealing with a whole lot of brothers that's messed up. You know, because they brainwash you when you go in there, either in the army or the police academy. They brainwash you to, you know, you love that cracker and you love your job better than anything. But there's a lot of brothers that's becoming deprogrammed. And they're ready to go. And they said as soon as this thing jump off, they're going to take them crackers' heads. So we got some. So like people say, it's good to you know, it's good to have people in all facets. Spook to set by the door to taught you that. You know what I'm saying? Police force and all that. Even though we know that ex-slave turned cop is not rational, but still yet, you know, it all works out, you see. Because there's no place that we don't occupy, you see. And we needed to know all that particular things. So that's going to work out perfect. Huh? So this brother was saying that they got special agents training in the Delta Air Force airplane lockers. Now you've seen these big lockers. Anybody seen these things? These things can fit big 747s in them. So anyway, they are big and huge, and they got these Air Force people, and they're training. And you said something about it. If you even go and peep.
Yeah, the work is them. They're supposed to be trained. These agents or men, whatever they are, grab them and take them away. They don't want them too close to find out what they're doing. So they flew in last week. They're training right now, so they need to get y'all spiritual consciousness up, because this thing could bust at any time.
That's it. That's it. Okay. Well, so you know, that's letting you know. You saying when it's gonna start is here. Remember, you already be in it 10 years and don't even know it. You see what I'm saying? Don't even know it and all. So it's here. It's here for those that have eyes to see. And for like I said, for most people, it's not conscious. They listen to the news. They believe it as is, literally. But for the people that's conscious, all you got to do is turn on your TV set. And the crackers tell you every day on CBS, ABC, and all this. You just turn on your TV set and be on point. So now the revolution, we are actually seeing the breakdown of their game just by the TV set. And they don't know who the hell we are. And we're going to show you how we're going to move against them also too, spiritually. Now it's interesting because go see the Lawnmower Man. Anybody saw the Lawnmower Man? You remember when they put him in virtual reality and these certain sigils and symbols started coming up? You notice some of the symbols that was coming up. Here's a book, Waite's book, A.E. Waite, same one that they did the Holy Kabala. Here's his book of black magic. These symbols are these sigils that you'll see, they call sigils. You'll see these sigils. When you go see the movie, you'll see these things coming up. The person said that, what you did with virtual reality is nothing that the ancient man was doing all the time, black man. And he lost that knowledge. So now these particular sigils here, if you know how to work these things and stuff, you can protect your home, kill anything in sight, and all this. Now I got a friend who wears one of these in New York, and he go up to them Lubavitch Jews. And they're like, oh, interesting sign. He say, no, I know what this is, and I know how to use it. And you can see them Jews, they take out running down the street. You see what I'm saying? Because they know that that's our knowledge. They know that the fake one. So this Waite's book of black magic that you've been thinking was spooky and satanic and all this ad stuff, it just meant the book of the black man's magic. This is the same thing that the Hebrew priests had, and when they came out and wandering in the wilderness, what happened was this. They had a lot of ritual that went along with the spirituality. They had based on a political thing and an egotistical thing, they took this thing out. What they did was, they knew that the people that were following them were gods, because this was all black people, and this happened with some black people down the way. They knew that you had a certain spiritual centers and psychic ability to raise yourself up, and you can tap into those archetypes of the collective unconsciousness and take you straight to the top of the tree of life or to the Godhead. It's called tetragrammaton. A tetragrammaton. You're going to see that in your Kabbalah. So what happened was they had been long absent from the schools of Hemmitt, and they didn't have the mystery systems anymore, so they started losing some knowledge. So in order not for some of the people that was following them to get a hold to the rituals and raise themselves up and find out that they who was ruling the people or who was over the people had less knowledge and didn't have the actual spiritual ability to do things anymore, the Hebrew priests cut out the rituals and severed it from the doggone scriptures. And so now you're thinking that stuff is evil. All that stuff is a working system to go to the Godhead. That's what it was put out here for. So the black magic is called a black man's magic. You see? So you thinking it's some spooked up Vodun, Yoruba, and it's actually the black man's magic. That's what Jesus was doing. You see what I'm saying? That's what Moses was doing. That's what any patriarch was doing when they did some stuff. They did it off the doggone magic. But see, now it's a different. This is magic is different than what you think. Or when you see damn Doug Hennings or David Cutt, that's them tricks. Those are tricks. Magic is talking about the spiritual divination system. That's different. And you do this from going within also. Now there's a difference between tricks and magic. They call that magic. Those are tricks. Hand is quicker than the eye and all that bullshit. No, this is the stuff that rules the universe. So this is Waite's book, Book of Black Magic, which is a very good book. And I'm going to show you a picture of something in there that you have been misconstruing, that the Christians have turned totally around when we go into some things. So now, first thing we're going to go into is, let's see, let me get my notes here. First of all, you came, and now I'm completing a book now called Hemmitt's Necronomicon, and the history starts 15 million years ago. No, excuse me. It starts about 1 billion years ago. Stuff that I got out of England. And the history stops at the end of Kemet. That's the decline of it. They're saying this particular part right here, from the end of Kemet up till now, it's just been limbo. It doesn't exist. It's not even worth being recorded, because the life wave has gone down so low. It had to have been to let a damn white man rule it up to now. If he's the lowest thing on the planet, in order for him to rule it, it had to have been such a degradation or a degeneration, or what they call involution, for him to even rule the stuff. The other thing, when the vibratory rate was higher, he couldn't even rule it and stuff. So now, the stuff that we're going to be dealing with as far as the history in this new thing, and there's a book called The Book of Monsters. I'm going to get in there in a few minutes and show you how we take the crack off the planet. There's a movie coming on tonight that's celebrating that, called The Langoliers and all. Now, this is the deal. That's the Necronomicon. We're going to get into this. Now, we used to live on a vibratory rate when our spiritual system was open. Once the vibratory rate came down, this land became, on a physical level, we became alien to it. And there's a book called The Gnostic Religion by Hans Jonas, the message of the alien God in the beginning of Christianity. Now in this book there's a passage in here where there's one of the brothers down here is phoning home. He's phoning home to the hierarchy, the order of Melchizedek, or the order of Medulla-Atan, or the Black Rider of Osiris, whatever you want to call it, based on what school you went to, because there's different schools back then. And he's saying, man, I'm not useful to this planet anymore, because this planet now has shut down my spiritual body, because I'm a spiritual person and I'm trapped in the physical. And this is limited to me. And he said, and I'm lonely, and he's going on about how he's not the same as what he used to be. And he also said, and now the evil people, those evil ones, those lesser people, are now conspiring against me. And this whole dialogue coming out of the Gnostic scriptures. And this particular book, Hans Jonas, it's called The Gnostic Religion by Hans Jonas, the message of the alien God in the beginning of Christianity. A lot of things on the chaos spirit, and a lot of things on that particular stuff that we're going to be dealing with also too. Now, the next thing we're going to deal with, we're going to get deeper into the stuff, because before we can let all this particular spiritual stuff climb out, we got to go deeper into the black dot. Deeper into the black dot. Show you what it is. It's called the black sun, or the Saul nigger. And what you see with this demon here, pay a close attention. It's called in the Gnostic religion the black sun, or the Saul nigger. Saul, which means sun. Nigger comes from the word negrito, which means the blackening stage in alchemy. A necro, which means death, because death is actually life. Now let me break this down. Saul means sun. Amun, Solomon. Amun means hidden. Saul means sun. Solomon means the hidden sun. Everything that you see when they give you the figures in the Bible, you take them for literal. They mean esoteric. Solomon, Saul, which means sun. Amun, which means hidden sun. Oh yeah, I am black and comely. Solomon means the black sun. Amun, hidden. Ra, sun. Amun Ra, hidden sun. The Saul nigger is also called the prima materia. The prima materia. Or the negrito. or it's called the dark night of the soul. Now it's interesting about this particular one, this is it now. You see this particular black dot, or if you saw the movie Stargate, you'll understand the Stargate. Now, I'm going to pass this around, and everybody see this. You remember, these are the Enochian alphabets. If anybody can see these Enochian alphabets, remember, when you saw the Stargate, these were the alphabets that was around the Stargate. The angelic alphabets, the Enochian alphabets. These were the actual alphabets around the Stargate, if anybody saw the actual Stargate. They mainly look like these. Those are the Enochian alphabets and all. So now that's a part of that Stargate. Now, it's interesting because this is the black sun. It's called the Negrito, the dark night of the soul. So now if you don't have this, you have no soul. Now, the demon is called the coronazone. Anytime you see demon, that's the good shit. You reverse everything. Oh, you want a demon. Anytime a demon get a hold of you, you want that. Let me explain this thing to you. See, it's just that your concept is all backwards. You have a higher nature and a lower nature. Right? Your lower nature loves it here. It's been here for 1,000, well, it's been here for years, let's say 10, 20, 30 years. You reincarnated from 1,000 years back. It's been here for the longest. Your lower nature, when you die, is talking about your lower nature being humble and you dying. Your lower nature wants to stay around. So it's going to do everything to keep you around by magnifying everything on the outside of you. That's why the more spiritual you get, the more and more your world on the outside start going wrong. Because the spirit is more in opposition to the physical. That's why you see more people immersed into the physical. That means that they're less spiritual. You see what I'm saying? So the Buddha says, empty mind, full room. You got to have all that stuff in your house. Full mind, small room, empty room. You see, and that's the way it is. The more and more you elevate your mind, the more and more you stop needing material things. It's only mere trinkets. The more and more your mind is empty, the more and more you need that stuff. You see what I'm saying? Now, so most black people is educated, the so-called is the epitome of education, they get more shit. So therefore, excuse the expression, that ought to let you know that in actuality, the ones that have the biggest egos is the ones that's the most incomplete. That lets you know that in actuality, that they have lost knowledge. Now then you had the brother in the project with all the gold teeth. It's not that he doesn't want the same thing, it's just as his is on another level. But despite him being on another level in the bourgeoisie talking junk about him, they're on the same level as the one in the projects because they're still talking about materialism.
That's right.
Just on another level. You see what I'm saying? So now, this is called a lower nature. You're going through this black dot. Remember, everything that you do, you must register inside of your body. The Bible is a book of the soul. Everything it's talking about is a book of the soul. Revelations is a book of the soul. The book, the Beginner's Guide to Revelation, it starts dealing with that stuff. But the Bible, the Kabbalah is a book of the soul because the Bible came from that. Or the book of the dead is the book of the soul. So now, you're raising up your vibratory rate and you're going through the black hole. The abyss is called in the book of Revelation. It's called the abyss. You're going to see a dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and you thinking it's some evil stuff. This is your higher nature. This demon is your higher nature. It comes and it devours the lower nature from getting through the threshold, and therefore, once it gets through the threshold, now, in the Kabbalah, and let me get my other one. In the Kabbalah, this stuff, see, most of the Hebrews, the white Hebrews, they take the spear of Darth off of the Kabbalah because they don't have the black dot. So they take that off. They do that for a reason, you see. And then the Kabbalah only becomes more of a, they take something metaphysical And then it becomes a spiritual doctrine as far as an esoteric doctrine where you learn the good moral laws. You see. It automatically reverts back to moral dogma. They take that dot off, because that dot is the battery. That's the black dot. That's the black dot. They take that off of the Kabala. But the dot is right here. Now, your whole thing of crossing, dying on the cross. This is the cross. These are the bars. Jesus is nailed to the cross. He dies on the cross. He dies in this area where the star. This particular dot is behind the spear, is just like the back of your head. You have the melanin at the top of the spine and the base of the skull, which is right here, which is dark. That's called the black sun. Y'all all right? That's called the black sun. Now, what happens is when you go up, let's put this right here. When you go up the tree of life, when you go up the tree of life, you get right here. White people can go all up these stairs, but when they get right here, they meet with this demon. Now, when they meet with, now what brings you up the spear, the tree of life? See, there's some good stuff here, because see, we can literally see this shit. You see what I'm saying? See, I can work with this thing here. Nigga got a new toy. Now, right here you have the kundalini, which is melanin. The kundalini fire, which is the hell's fire, raises you up and pushes the spiritual in your chakra systems. It opens them up and seals them. It pushes you up, and once it goes here, it hits the black dot. So what raises you up is your kundalini fire, which is in you, that's rising up based on you raising your vibratory rate. Now, this is the deal. Okay, cool. Put this down. Y'all can see this? Now, oh damn, I got what you call it right over there. That'll work. Now you're going up this spear. This is where Jesus dies on the cross. This is the crossing over when you go in this particular black sun. Your lower self, or your ego, everything that you think that you are, your ego is only what your body tells you it is. That's the hologram. That's the illusion. So you get hung up on Bobby Hemmitt in this light incarnation, but the real thing is something on the inside, which is the black sun, which is the spiritual sun inside of you. So you get hung up on this particular ego and all of this, and all your little life, and all your little children, and all the little pathetic things, which is an illusion. It doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is the spirit and the entity on the inside. It's no more than what the Bible been, what the preachers been preaching to you, but they don't understand the real deal concept, most of them. Because they got the biggest egos in the damn world and shit. And they telling you to go to heaven while they buying damn Cadillacs and shit. Ain't trying to go no damn well. Most of them. Now, ain't trying to go nowhere and all. And wouldn't break bread with a brother in the project to save their damn soul. Some of them damn niggas and stuff. Some of them niggas, the worst pathetic niggas on the planet and stuff, because they was trained by the damn white man. And it has nothing to do with spiritual divination whatsoever. That's moral doctrines that's talking about good behavioral patterns that they gave to the white man. When they first got out of the mystery system, they knew that there was going to be a savage man and he would need a book to go by. How is it that the doggone, you didn't need no book at first. You went to a schoolhouse and they taught you how to become gods. G-O-D, generator, operator, and destroyer. Gods of the universe. That's what the main thing to the mystery school, the key to the mystery school is godhood. But on the, but now, this particular part, now, so what happens is your ego likes it here. It wants to stay. Then it meets with this demon called the cardinal zone. And this particular demon devours the ego. That's your higher self. It only looks like a demon because your lower ego, the physical you, is looking at it. But it's looking at the spiritual self. Jacob wrestled with the angel. He was only wrestling with his alter ego, the dark side. It's called a double side. The double self. You got a double soul. You got the soul that you know here, which is the doggone lower half, functioning off these two false eyes. Because your third eye, your spiritual eye, your first eye is shut down. Then you have another soul. And that double soul, in the ancient man, used to be made aware of his double. That's the root word for devil. The double. Jacob is wrestling with the angel. He's wrestling with his own higher self. You understand? The only fear is the fear in you. As a man and woman thinks, so is he or she. So now this particular demon is called the coroner zone. Or the coroner zone. It's the holy demon. And that's the demon that's there to eat up. Now, this is how your soul looks. Let you know. This comes from England. It's called the black kundalini. This is on the inside of you. The black kundalini, two transugatian gods of magic. Now, some of you sometime, you probably seen some of these sometime and thought it was some spooks. You was seeing a mirror of your own self. Sometime your third eye tapped in and you saw what was on the inside. Everything that's going on out here is a reflection from what's on the inside of you. And you are seeing the hologram because your third eye is shut down or your first eye is shut down. Your soul on the inside looks like this. Now, this is a big blob of melanin, the spiritual thing. The white man don't have this on the inside of him. All he has is lower energy that comes from, he'll have this particular energy that's running. And his energy is running and he'll have that much. But he doesn't have the black dot, which is the higher self. So he's running solely off of energy. But he doesn't have the complete function of the black dot, the archetypal seed of humanity. So now, the black sun is called the Saul nigger. It's called the Saul nigger, or it's called the negrito. The negrito. It's also called the hatted point. See, one people say, well, why you deal so much with this particular stuff? Because this is the key to the mystery system. This is the key to the mystery system. All the other stuff that they talk about, this is the key. Everything comes from the atom, the atom, the atom, the atom point, the atomic point. Hatted. It's called hatted. An infinitely small atomic point. The Bindu, it's called the Bindu seed in India. The hidden God, you see, whose name is Had, who is one with Adad, with Doth, and who is the word Yog Sut So, or Yog Sathos. I'll get into that in a few minutes. But Doth, the black dot in the holy tree of life. This is the key, and this is your saving grace. They say only those will survive that is saved by Christ. Christ is in you. That's the black dot. That's your savior. Now, when I get into the book of monsters and get into this stuff, we show you how this cracker does not have anything that can deal with this particular stuff. Now, so let's go on. Let's go on. We get the notes and see what else we got on the agenda here. Now, this particular part right here comes from the original. The white people are going to be telling you that the reptilians are taking over the earth. The original reptilian race is the people who got the full access to the kundalini, which is black people. So the reptilian race is a code word for black people. It's talking about the kundalini race of people who have the full, actual energy power of that particular black dot. White people only can go up to a certain level, and then that particular demon kills them. Because they don't have a higher nature, the demon eats this little nature up. So white people are only on the physical. And they're only nothing but a bad demon in your dreams. In your dreams. You see. And when you get deep into this stuff, you have been dreaming this whole time. And we explain, they said, that nigga, they're trying to get away from reality. No. Everything that you have been doing now, that's why most people don't come up with answers. Everything that your answers that you have been coming up with is on the physical level. But when you think about it, the white man got all that locked down. Money, military. Just think about all of this shit. That's why we used to sit in the house, me and this brother here, and other brothers, we used to sit up and stay up to 3, 4, 5 in the morning, talking about how to get out this situation. You see what I'm saying? Talking about how to get out this situation. But what had happened was the white boy has trained us to think logical. That's what they see. That's that. Spock is nothing but the ultimate white boy. Rational, logical. And so when he trains you to think in the ramifications of this earth, he limits you. Remember, an ant in a coconut shell with water thinks it's a whole ocean. But to you, it's an ant in a coconut shell. So first of all, he tells you the history starts 6,000 years. Therefore, if he can somehow put his existence somewhere in that particular realm, you will never think that you can get off the planet with white people, because most of the Christians or most of the people who think it goes back that far, they say that the white man has always been here. The first thing you hear niggas say, we got to live on the earth with them. Now wait a minute, nigga, if you've been on the earth for millions of years and the white man wasn't invented, you got to have a low self-esteem to think that you need to be on the earth with a person that's been on the earth. You've been on the earth for 4 years and the white man been on the earth for 2 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So therefore the possibility realm is he closes it in. He closes it in. So he tells you logic. You see, it's not logical. And so therefore the reason why you can't get out of it is because you're thinking on a third dimensional complex. And everything that you think of, you know ultimately the white man has got it. I used to come on, yeah, man, we need to start more black businesses. She said, where you going to buy your materials from? Where you going to buy your damn trucks from? You don't make no trucks. Where you going to do all, yeah, you're right, you see. I mean, it felt good, but ultimately we were gods. So therefore, they said in the long run you need to think as God. See, you didn't start from humanity as far as starting as what you are now and was building some stuff like some hunter and gathering stage. That's what the black scholar would want you to say, because they work in the doggone white universities, most of them, and the white man has a limit on what he teaches them or what they have to say. They know better, but you came from the God realm. Now, this is a graph that's trying to show you. First, it was the shamanic. Now, shamanic is talking about amethyst and spirit. You were pure spirits. Then you went to the pagan era. Pagan is good. Pagan only means the people. Well, look up the word pagan. It means people. And when the people was talking about it, it was some other white people talking about those people, black people that we call pagan. You see what I'm saying? Then you went to monotheist. That's when stuff started breaking down. Because that's when you start losing the components of what it takes to run the spiritual world that you learn in the mystery system. And they chumped it all up into this one God thing, which the one God thing, the concept, is putting the cart before the damn horse, because you don't understand the concept of what it means about God being in everything, or the spiritual attributes, not to just say some doggone names. You see what I'm saying? So therefore it started breaking down, and you started playing to the person that you used to be. Is it not written in the law that ye are gods? Then it came the atheist. That's when the cracker comes in. Because you always believed in the spirit, and even when the spirit was converted into you worshiping that, you still believed in some spiritual deity. The atheists come in with the white man and talk about the nihilists, but what it comes into? Rationalists. Rationale. That's the white man's science, because the white man took your science, he studies occult chemistry, and he give you the bullshit chemistry. He studied quantum physics, and he give you that other physics, which is talking about mathematics. Even though mathematics is a prime root, mathematics is what you had to resort to after the spiritual centers shut down. You had to go to a mathematical equation to somehow indicate in the mystery system what you used to do spiritually by nature. That's why the child, when you grew, instead of learning the stuff, your ABCs, you had cosmic memory. And each day you got older, you remembered that you were God, and your memory started coming back until you came straight up to the Godhead. After the physical level shut down and you got entrapped, you had to go to the mathematics, and you had to go to the other systems of the mystery system to get back to a certain level. But him, he's totally left brain. You see what I'm saying? You are right brain people. So therefore, he take all the spiritual systems, and when it talks to teach you, he take that stuff out and give you straight up mathematics and some doggone English language, which is a messed up language in the first place. That's why I don't have to use the shit the right way. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not just bound to the king's language. Now the key to this is this. So he's the rationalist and all. That's why you had physics. Your physics was encoded into the mythology. You see what I'm saying? So now you're looking at the mythology literal, and it was physics. So all the Bible is talking about physics, and it's talking about spiritual components that's on the inside, and you're thinking it literal. You see what I'm saying? You get Emmanuel. That's Aman, hidden. You El, which means son, hidden God. Abraham, Abra, which means son. Ham, which comes from the word Cam, which means black. Abraham means the black son, and you all the fathers of the black son. So how the hell some damn white Jew and some white crackers and some white mutant Arab sons of Abraham? Abraham means the black son. You see? Now, this is the part that you're going back into. And I was trying to explain to the brother, when we talk about the chaos field, we're not talking about anarchy as far as literal chaos that way. Hell, that's what you're in now. We're talking about the cosmic ethers of spirit, where this particular physical realm, the hologram disappears. And that comes to the word pan-demon. Pan-demon. People say, well, why are you getting all crazy now? Because I got to a certain level and you learn a certain knowledge and you can't go back to the stuff. You got to tell the people what the deal is. You got to get off of spookism. Now, what is the pan-demon? The pan-demon. The pan-demon. You thinking it's some messed up stuff. The pan-demon is the Sabbatic goat, the Sabbath. The god Pan comes from the original god of Africa, Sut, or Sut-Nessi, which means the black one. This is the key. Now, let's explain this stuff to get you off the spook. Now, I'm going to say this over again, because when I went to New York, we're in New York City, and you got to come with new stuff, because we are the Afrocentric New York City and the Afrocentric paradigm. So I come and put the real deal shit on, and the niggas got scared as hell. Got scared. Scared, oh, they got scared. I said, see, y'all still into that spookism. I said, I'm going to put the real deal on you. Look, understand this. In the ancient world, physics, geometry, astronomy, energy, heat, light, air, water, all your chemistry that comes from the word alchemy, was encoded into mythology. Now this is the key to get you off the spook. When you see stuff that look like this that you are scared of, I'm going to tell you there's only energy. And you are energy. Just like the cosmos is energy. This is the key. White man learned this a long time ago, and he been ruling the world and all and got y'all messed up. Y'all pray every day in the damn church and all, and you the worst people on earth as far as your conditions. Can't get out of nothing. Don't see, the problem is you've been taking these Sunday school stories that you never graduated out of Sunday school literally. You understand? Anytime you see hieroglyphic icons and symbols in the ancient world, it's explaining energy. When you see energy like this that looks the most hideous, it's explaining the most powerful energy. You understand? You see how you get some more powerful energy? They put a damn skull and crossbones on the bottle. You understand that? You see? It didn't mean that the skull and the crossbones was in the bottle. It was explaining the degree of energy. You understand this? You got to get this, because see, everybody's spooked out about some damn devil that don't exist. When you see this Sabbatic goat, this is energy. They took a hieroglyph or an icon to explain the most powerful energy on the planet. You understand? You see the third eye. That's the third eye in you. See what I'm saying? That's called the third eye of Lucifer, which means light bringer. It's a story that's going on in a school of the souls, and it ain't got nothing to do with no damn devil up under no ground and you going to hell. You understand what I'm saying? You are mixing in religious fundamentalism into esoteric teachings. You are the people that's going to be gods. You are the ones that's here. So when the ships come and when the shit come down, you're going to be the ones, because you are, those people are. Every ignorant person you see out there, every Uncle Tom you see out, every person you see out, they got first dibs into the hereafter, not you. You the helpers. If you go before them, they are lost. So don't be saying, see, that's the thing about the ego. As soon as we gain some knowledge, the first thing we want to do is start beating down some niggas. We all 2 days in the knowledge now. See what I'm saying? We all 2 days in the knowledge. We either got a Budweiser in our hand, and if you wasn't that, you was the one at other extreme. If you wasn't doing the Budweiser kick, you were jumping up and down jumping up and down on top of your head in some damn holy sanctified church. One and the other, they're the same damn dichotomy. Same thing. Same thing, no difference. So now, first time we get a little bit of knowledge, the first thing we're going to go beat some niggas over the head. I went to Hampton. All the little brothers, you know, they like juniors, seniors, and freshmen. They're going to grow the dreads, you know, and all the stuff. And literally, they're thinking literal. Brother, why you cut your hair for? I said, brother, see, I understand the concept of what you're saying, brother, that you want to identify with an African paradigm other than a European paradigm. I say, but brother, that should be the first stage. But if you get stuck there, all of a sudden you become just the same as bad as the person you came from. You're getting stuck into the physical. I say, ultimately, brother, it's a bigger picture. And if you get stuck into the smaller picture, you'll get stuck. So you go to the opposite of what you want to get away from. But if you stay there, you become just as bad as what you left. You see what I'm saying? Brother, I try to be righteous and all this kind of thing. I say, brother, first of all, that damn dog out there, that cat, that rat, and none of them don't need no book on how to be righteous. Soon as you put a label on it, it automatically becomes evil. That's why the church, if you see most of them, you can't stand most of them because they come up and waving a Bible in your face. On some doggone scriptures, which is the first leg of trying to get back to something that is divine. But they got stuck there. So therefore, they just quote the doggone scriptures and all that kind of thing, but their spirit don't never get, their spirit never leaves from the same level. They just go right in with the physical. They just support the doggone physical. So they get support. Let me tell you another thing. Don't you know, I meet a girl, I say, hey, you okay, look, I got these feelings. I think I'm in love with you. And we do that little love bit and stuff. And then we establish that we in love with each other. Don't you know this whole love shit is fake? Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. It's fake. That came from romance, where the white boy couldn't understand the concept, so he didn't have the real love in him. So therefore, don't you know that if you got to tell your person you love them, they on the TV they say, you know, you go, I love you, baby. Does a dog got to tell another dog that I'm down with you? Does an elephant got to tell another elephant that I'm down with you? You see what I'm saying? Anytime you have to verify your love, you have already missed the boat. After the first initial thing, you don't ever supposed to tell a person you love them. Now I know that's a hard pill to swallow, and I'm gonna tell you what I mean. The more spiritual I got, the more telling my mate that I love her became phony. It became kind of phony. You know, it become kind of phony because I'm with you in a union of a soul. I don't need to, you see what I'm saying? I don't need to verify that. Again, that's how the brother can get over. He just used the word. He learned how to say, I love you. And you know, as long as he can keep saying that, he go screw all the women he wants. Oh, but that nigga love me. And so the love thing is romance. You're looking at romance that's made up by the European and you thinking that's love. My brother don't have to tell me he loved me. You love me? Man, get off me, man. You love me? I know you love me. I'm supposed to know that. See what I'm saying? You don't have to tell me, but you get that. That's TV. So therefore, that's why your particular relationships go out the tube, because your concept of love is what you call abstract. It's not in here. It's in here. What's that, brother?
Oh, is that why when you deal with white people, black people more up front? And it's like when you talk to another black person, if I don't like them, I don't have to front. And I tell them straight up.
That's true. That's
when you deal with white people, it's like they got to be deceitful. If I don't like another black person,
right? But see, also too. Yeah.
We don't like each other, but you be with a white person, you know, you got to do this, do that.
Well, also too, but see, we have bought into that too. See, what happens is, with white people, they need a spiritual icon to explain something that they don't have. That's a symbol without substance. So you grow up on TV thinking you got to tell your mate, and she said, oh, you can't even tell me you love me no more. No, you throwing the brother for a loop, or you throwing the sister for the loop for the simple fact that you don't suppose to, it's supposed to be just like your family. You see what I'm saying? So the concept of the things what we do is all backwards. You got to start thinking, you literally got to start thinking, when they call quantum psychology, undo yourself. Now, going back to this, whenever you see this icon, it's talking about power. This is a symbol of the most ancient God. Let's read this. Now, and I say this because see, all you got to do with all the doggone, let me get this right. All you got to do with all the so-called people is take their ass back far enough. And you best believe most of them niggas will go back to the beginning of Hebrewism, and they'll stop. Take them on back into Kemet and then take them on back. And sooner or later, the mugs going to have to bear witness. Let's see about this thing here. The Draconian cult, which is the most ancient cult. The cult of the dragon of the deep ones of space that brought to earth the Ophidian cult worshipped by the ancient Typhonians. The god is called Soot. Soot or Soot Nessi derives from an incalculably ancient name. Soot was the primordial god of the Egyptians. No earlier god in recorded history exists. It's either Soot, Al-Sut, or Sutek. Sutek later on becomes Melchizedek. Jesus is what? I'm in the priest king of the order of Melchizedek. Sut later on is in doggone Samaria, is called Sut-on. There was a group of people called the Yazidi tribe, and the Yazidi tribe worshiped Shaitan. In another part, he's Baal. Another part, he's Soot. He's all of these particular ancient names. By the time they start fighting, one start calling the other god evil. It's a political breakdown. But the original god is called Soot. Soot-on. Soot, which means the black one. Anubis means the dog, which is messenger. Anubis. Soot-on, which means the opener. Which means the opener. He goes to Greece and is known as Pan. And this is the doggone symbol of Pan in Greece, which the ancient black Greeks put in before the white man came in. In the mid-century, in medieval England, and also early parts of the Hebrew religion, all they did was got together and they made a doggone icon of the devil. The devil of Soot-on only means the Nubian. It means the black man. By the time the white man starts filtering into religion, by the time the Torah starts being translated and all this, they take the ancient black man, which they meant this. It's political then. They took the symbol of Pan from Greece, because that was later on the time they got it. This is the original symbol, is Pan-Heru, or Pan-Heru, which is also Suthar in Egypt. Let me show you another picture. Y'all all right? Y'all getting this? Y'all got to get this, because you got to get spooked out of the shit that's coming back. Really, some stuff get ready to hit the earth, and you got to know what it is. So you got to get off the spookism. You catching hell, only devil that exists as far as the embodiment of evil is the white man. And you ought to know that more than anybody else in the universe. Horus, which is the Christ that's coming back. Soot, Sothar. In the back of your head is the medulla oblongata. I'm going to come back to this Pan-Heru. Which is Soot, which is Hadit, which is the black dot. We talking about energy. You in the mystery system now. You ain't fucking around with fairy tales no more like everybody else. They've been arguing over the past 1,000 years off of the esoteric. That's why they argue about it. Because they take history and try to make it literal. Or they take the scriptures and try to put history with it and try to make it literal, like a place, a time, and a person. And they arguing about all that stuff. And the person up under the mysteries, like your Sufis, like your Gnostics, Like your Kabbalistic people, they laughing. Ha ha, them niggas up there laughing, they laughing. And the curse of Ham is the black man took the doggone stuff that was meant for crackers and he got back in it, and now you into the literal stories. I'm the son of Abraham and the Egyptian stuff was evil. All you had to do is, it was a known fact. I want you to follow my religion. Well, I'm in a religion. Why should I follow that? So the first thing you got to do is you got to make his religion evil. It's corrupt. You got to follow mine. Otherwise, you wouldn't get no followers to come into your cup. So if you look into Torah, what? They say that the Egyptians was evil. You go to the Christianity, they say what? The Jews are evil. Even though some of that is hieroglyphically or what you would call prophetic history, they was talking about a Jew that's evil on the other side. Couple of thousand years later. You go to the Quran, Muhammad say that the Jews have come corrupt. That's nothing but religious politics to get another religion started. And you thinking that damn God changed his name. Oh, it became corrupt. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, let's look at it. Oh, now you telling me, now rescue if I'm wrong. Now let's go back to history here. Okay, you saying to me that the Hebrew saying the Egyptian stuff was corrupt. And then the Christians say that the Hebrew stuff is you supposed to follow the New Testament because the Old Testament and all this kind of bull jive. And then the Islamic saying that that's corrupt and this is the last word of God. Well, let me look at this thing. Now I can account history. I can go with Vodun, because Vodun, I can go with Igbo, I can go with doggone Yoruba. The system divination of Ife goes all the way back to Atlantis. As well as the Egyptian, the story of Osiris and stuff goes back to Atlantis before the flood. And I can take all the spiritual stuff this time before what you would call organized religion come in. And I can see a harmonious lifestyle that predates that, but all the world is modeling good off of that harmonious lifestyle. But yet, by the time I see the world religions that's on the earth now, I can account and I can literally say that the world has not known a moment's peace during the same time of Christianity. I can see it. The world has not known a moment's peace doing the same. Yeah, you have pockets in the world, but basically it was a decline of the society. And those are the ones that's on now. So what I'm trying to tell you is ultimately, it ain't about the religions, it's about the spirituality. Right? You spiritual before you are religious. Religious is man-made. And the other schools were spiritual schools. But yet everybody's saying one was corrupt, but yet they haven't had one bit of history that say in that frame that theirs have been on the earth where the earth has been peaceful. Certainly not goddamn Islam, excuse the expression. We say that because that means God has the right to damn. Since I'm God, I can damn stuff. Is it not written in the law that I'm God? You make you eat the words in the scriptures. Now, going back to this, you got Heru, who is Christ, which is also representative of you. But right here you got Soot, which is the prototype of the devil. Well, what is he doing in the back of the head of Heru? They're talking about energy. You got a day side and you got a night side. You got a day side and you got a night side. Get this right. Okay. Day side and a night side. What you have been learning is the day side religion that after the white boys found out the real thing in the British Museum in 1907, they gave you the day side and they've been doing the damn night side. Now, this is a circle. In the circle is what? The black dot. This is the yin, this is the yang. You can't have the Christ. The Christ means light. You can't have the Christ none unless you got this. You see what I'm saying? This is the Christ. This is the halo around Jesus' head. In the center is the black dot. From the black dot, you get the actual halo. You understand what I'm saying? And all the elements of the earth is in this thing. But it all stems from one primordial point. The yin and the yang. You see, now that's when this picture comes up. This is a real good one. This is a real good one. When this picture comes up. Now this is the picture of the young Christ. The Jews, you see the Heru's lock. The Heru's lock, deals with the black granite strip of hair. But on the inside, in the core of that, is the melanin, and that's called a Buddha Rupa, which means Akash. You get the word Akashic records from it, which means pure souls. The blackness. You see him, he's standing on the crocodiles. The crocodiles is a symbol for melanin in Egypt. It's a symbol of Kim. Kim means black. The word Kim means black. The Latin word for Kim is homo, where you get Homo sapiens sapien from. Homo in this and homo that. Not homosexual. Homo, which means man, which means humans. So the word homo is a hieroglyph for human life on this planet, which means black. See what I'm saying? Now, here you have Heru, which is the Christ. This is the baby Jesus that you know of. You have the Horus lock, the Lubaba which Jews wear that now, trying to imitate black people. And they wear all the black. Trying to imitate black people. The ninja wear that to imitate black people. You see what I'm saying? Your priests, some of your priests in the Catholic Church wear that to imitate black melanin, the black skin, the black autonomy of the body of God. Right here, you see this demon coming out of his head. You see this demon coming out of his head. The demon is the god Bes. And the god Bes later on is the root word for the god word beast. The beast is this. The beast is the black dot in you. There's a physical beast on top of the ground. You know who that is. There's a beast in you, which is talking about animal activism. It's talking about the energy that the animals can do everything, different things that you can't do. But when you tap into this best or the black dot, you can do everything the animals can do. Fly, live up underwater, go to other planets. All this inside of you. Turn into spaceships. All them spaceships out there is angels. White boys have concluded that in the book Angels and Aliens by the guy Thompson. Had a line down the street to get the book. That's why the cracker can't fight it. You see what I'm saying? This is on the inside of him. This is a hieroglyph of melanin. So Satan or Sutan, which means the alter ego, is talking about your dark hair. Jesus was wrestling with Satan, right? He said, Satan, get behind me. Sutan, get behind me. Where the hell is the best? He behind him. This is this part of you with the melanin called the mouth of God, the medulla oblongata. See what I'm saying? And this is representing, he's standing on this, which means the abyss. We all come from space, which is the triple blackness of space. Now, let's deal with a couple of things. This picture, I said this before, but I'm going to show you another picture because I got the pictures now. I can really roll with this. This picture is the Lamb, is an extraterrestrial intelligence whom Crawley was in astral contact with in 1919. This drawing of Crawley appeared in an exhibition held in Greenwich Village the same year. Now Crawley did a distorted picture of this. A sister saw this particular person, came to her last year, around last August. His name is Lamb. He's from the constellation of Andromeda. Now there's a tape out where there's a white boy talking about some Andromedans that came to him, tall blue men. Blue meaning black, blue black. Tall blue men that came to him. He's from the constellation of Andromeda. I'm sweating, I got a damn towel back here. He came from the Andromeda. Now, Crawley did this, but he distorted the picture. This person, number one, he was a lot blacker. But now, when you see them aliens you see now, they got big eyes. But go see the movie Fire in the Sky, and they showed you on the movie that when they went and the man got on the ship, which was a true story, took him 7 years to do the damn screenplay. When he got on the ship, what he saw a closet full of suits with the big head suits that the people come into. Now, this big head that you see, it's a hieroglyph in here to show you that this is talking about the black man. First of all, you see this, and you see the cross. You see this, and you see that, which means it's showing you the Ankh. Anybody can see the Ankh in there? Okay, next thing you see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think it's These little things you see is the ciphers on the Kabbalah in his face. Lamb is now a current. Once you go and leave this body, you can throw your body all over the doggone universe if you want to. You can become a current, because all it is energy. So energy can do anything. You got to understand what you really are. You're not mere humans. The Bible tells you in the I'm gonna give you a new flesh and new this here. And they talk about a fall in the Bible. The fall is you the sons that fell. Enoch, the fallen sons of Enoch. Enoch is another word for soot. You see what I'm saying? Yahweh is another word for soot. Now, he's a current. Now, if you notice, if you go to Ethiopia, you see these same big head people. There's another person that lived and died on the earth. They got the same big head. And it's a picture of Imhotep with the same big head. You see what I'm saying? With the same big head. Imhotep with the same big round head. And he's a black man, the first position. But if you notice, by the time the Greeks roll around, he's worshipped as a god. He's worshipped as a god. That's because he rose himself to the Christ level. Plenty of people rose themselves to the Christ level. The Pharaoh Pepi rose himself to the Christ level. The scribe Ani, that you get the book of coming forth by day, the papyrus of Ani, rose itself to the Christ level. Several people ascended to the Christ level. That ain't nothing. So not just one person, you can do it too. Now, that's lamb, and that's the same big head you see, and you see that in Ethiopia. Check? Yeah. All right. Let's go on. Now, getting back to this, what I'm trying to show you, and when I show you this, show you the picture of Harpocrates. First of all, he's innocent. That's what you got to come back to. What do you mean innocent? Why they show a baby? That means if I come up to you and cuss you out, call your mama a hoe, you might get offended by it. But I go to a baby and do the same thing, he might start laughing. See what I'm saying? He who makes you mad is your master. That's because your ego. See, your ego is only what your body, you are only what your ego tells you it is, based on a series of life experiences. That's not who you are. That's a build-up of an illusion. So therefore, you become vulnerable. You go to the little ancient man, you like the Twa people. They walk around, have no clothes on, or no clothes on, You come up and say some stuff to them, because they can't understand the concept of what you're talking about because they're on a higher level. Well, when you see the baby, they're saying you must become. So a lot of these cliches, once a man, twice a baby. They're talking about, on the other hand, even though it is true, on the physical level, you once a man and you get old and you got to be tended to like a baby. But on the metaphysical level, see, some of the scriptures are meant for some part of life and some of them are meant for metaphysical level. Once a man, twice a baby. You must be humble. And it's humility. And the more you humble yourself and get out of the actual breakdowns of society, is the less I'll be affected by things you say about me, about things, oh damn, I ain't got no clothes on. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I got a spot on my clothes and I can't go outside. I can't go outside looking like this. And the more and more you come off of this, the more and more spiritual you grow. You understand the concept of what I'm trying to say? So they show you the baby. They say now, the demon is there to devour the baby. But the baby going through. Why? Because the demon can only devour the illusion. The baby is innocent, so you can't hurt him. You understand what I'm saying? So the more humble you get, you see what I'm saying? The more spiritual you become. You see? Now, dealing with the ego. Look at this. Dealing with the ego. They say that the most incomplete of us, here it is, the ego. The ego. It says the more strongly you identify with something, the more strongly we must reject its opposite. Now it says this, what it means. Thus, the strongest, the most oppressive egos belong to the most incomplete of us. So, you worship a person, a movie star, a basketball star, a preacher, a leader. You understand what I'm saying? Now, they can't help but have big egos. You worshiping them. See what I'm saying? And you're saying, that's the person I want to be like. You see what I'm saying? That's the person you least want to be like. Because he's the most incomplete. Because the more and more he gets caught in his ego, the more and more he gets stuck in the doggone hologram and the illusion of things. You see what I'm saying? That's the person that you want to be least like. Y'all getting this? See, the whole thing is you got to really humble yourself. Humility is the key. That's why I say, well, hell, I can go on the radio and tell them I got my damn lights cut off. I couldn't do that shit 5 years ago. No, hell no. I say, no. I remember I got out of college and stuff. I couldn't get no job. So, I'll tell you how bad it was. I couldn't get no job. You know, I wearing money suits and stuff. So, the woman said, so I go in the restaurant. I know I need a job. Ain't got no money to pay the rent. I don't want to wait no tables because I don't want nobody that I went to in college to come and see the sickness. So I'd rather go and take a job washing dishes in the back. See what I'm saying? So nobody won't see me. See, that's the kind of insanity we have. You see what I'm saying?
Good teaching.
You see the concept? Once you get out of all the fronting, you free. You don't have to deal with shit. You be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You free.
Right.
You a free man now. And it takes a load off you that you don't have to appear to be something to doggone people. You understand what I'm saying? You are no longer a victim of being interested in what people think about you. And you get free of this stuff. So I'm a free man now. Now, look. It says, for these types, it is an additional problem that when you exalt a principle, eventually you attract its opposite. That's what I was talking about. The brother, you know, they got the dreads and all. Look pretty nice, you know. Everybody, all of them twisting up the hair. I said, well, it's positive. Because see, first of all, they're running that cracker. They're running the president of the school crazy because he big time boule man. You know, he want them all, you know, cut off their mustaches and look like the white man. You know. So I said, okay, that's cool. But they had started getting stuck in it because they was not applying enough knowledge to keep on gaining. So they was getting stuck in the way they look. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what happened with most of the Afrocentric thing. They picked a particular thing and they became good at it and they said, I'm stopped. You see what I'm saying? Because that's ego. You'll stop there because you're a big fish in a little pond. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to go on because something else meet down the road might be too complicated. You can't master that. And you don't want to look like a little fish in a big pond. So you will only go into the thing that you good at. I'll stick right here. So I can knock down everybody who ain't good at this thing. I can say this here. You see what I'm saying? And that's the key. So soon as you identify with something, you attract its opposite. So that's what happened with the Afrocentric community. They started getting to a certain level. They started getting this knowledge, and all of a sudden, they didn't want to go on. So the first thing they did was they attracted the doggone opposite. They became that in which they got out of when they left in the first place. They became just like that. Whatever the crazy thing they was when they left, they became that. You all understand that? Check. I just want to know. Now look. Now this is the key. Now look at this. Those who exalt strength will be drawn into a position of weakness. That's why the woman can say, you know, the man, he be out there beating niggas behind. I'm a bad mother. You know, and talking to, he be in the boardroom, just, yeah. I got millions, I'm running this thing. He go home to his wife and stuff. She got to pamp his little ego because she know he's weak. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you great, honey. You great, honey. You know what I'm saying? But anytime she do something this her genius put out there, he start getting a little, can't take it. See what I'm saying? He can't take it. That's because that's called a male fragile ego. It can go the other way with the female too. You get jealous. You want to be the big fish. You don't want nobody else, you see. So the ones that you think out here is big time, they punks, especially in the eyes of their woman. She has to always doggone stroke their little ego. It's called a fragile male. Now look at this. Those who strive to be good will become the embodiment of evil. Now you can understand what moral dogma does to you. Person, he lift himself up, got up off the street, he was down and out. So he get into the church. That's good. That's the first part. Don't stop there. But he learned the scripture, and next thing you know, he just come out there and beating the same damn niggas he left. You sinner, you going to hell, and all this kind of thing here. That's the embodiment of evil. Why? Because after all, so after a while and stuff, he becomes just like this person. He's stuck in this particular realm and stuff, and he can't go on. And if you notice, look at Jim Jones and all of them.
Yeah.
even though the white men, some of them jumped their nature. If you look at when he first started out, he really wanted to make a difference. If you saw the hit man, that's how he get the people in the first place, because his insincerity was his credentials. But after a while, the power starts corrupting, and he becomes egotistical. And basically, most of your preachers and stuff, they become that way. You see what I'm saying? They become that way, and all. And that's why the community becomes alien to them. The brother on the street can't identify with that nigga no more. That nigga used to be the same nigga drink damn liquor like him. But I done got the Lord now. You know what I'm saying? That's ego. That's boasting. And we must humble ourselves. You see what I'm saying? I tell him what, go up in that church with a pair of jeans on one day and see what to kick his ass out. Mr. Preacher Man. Because they're talking about a symbol without substance. And that's called religious ceremony. And it ain't got a damn thing to do with real spirituality. Check? Check. All right. Most preachers, leaders, scholars who claim that their ego has been obliterated and merged into the union of the Godhead, nothing of the sort has occurred. They have merely employed some gnosis, which is some knowledge or knowing, and exalted it to inflate their own egos. Now, going back to this particular person, let's move on, because I know we can spend all that. This particular person, the best is the higher self, and it is here to tear up the physical. Y'all got that? Okay. Now, let's keep on rolling here. All right. Look at this. This is a picture of the Gnostic god Abraxas and the Persian god Mithra. Your symbol is the lion, which represents the most strong. They took the strongest animal and they represented the strongest human. The lion represents melanin. It represents the kingly man. Right here you see what? Black dot. You see the wings. Because of the black dot and because he's gone to his higher nature, he is exalted. So now when you see these things, you're looking at energy. You're not looking at ugly face and demon looking things. You're looking at energy. What is this? The kundalini that rises you. You see that spear? At the tip of that spear is what? A triangle. A triangle is the symbol for the star Sirius. This is the hieroglyph for the star Sirius. It's also a symbol for Kim, which means melanin. So your symbol is not only the Sphinx, which is the lion, Mithra, or the goddess Sekhmet, it is the pyramids. This right there in the thing, both means melanin. Both means melanin. You see what I'm saying? Up here, you'll see Mithra, you'll see this particular, you'll see this, what's that, a triangle? You see two pyramids, one up and one down, as above, so below, and all the elements of the universe. Also, you will see the two inverted pyramids, which is also the Star of David. So now, one, which is also the Star of David. Now, also, the Star of David is also talking about the third eye. Yes, the crackers have used it as a satanic symbol as far as turning stuff around. But in actuality, that's two inverted pyramids, and it means anytime you see a star, it means the third eye. Check? Yeah. Now, that goes to this picture coming out of England to explain what's going on. Now, I got to really do something to explain this thing here. To explain this one. I always want to give you a good picture of this. Number one, this is a picture of a black woman. You see the dreadlocks. And you see something coming up out of her skull, which is a demon. You can see she's a sister. Got the same, you know. And then she got the... You see the black dot in her eye. You see the dreadlocks and you see the demon. This is who the earth has adapted her to be conducive to what looks like on the earth. Which, in other words, the energy on the third dimension is such a lower energy, such a lower level, until your body was adapted to accommodate the energy that came in. Unleashed from your body, the energy looks like this. Now, outside of the third dimension, this looks like this. You understand? Because the energy in the third dimension is not conducive, this is the third dimension, the physical. And it can only go by the laws of what the physical say it can go by. So when higher energy comes into the physical, it looks like a monster. It's not a monster. It's just that you own the damn artificial realm, and that's beauty. You see, because outside of that, this looks like this. So the gods look at you, you look like this to them. You see? But this is the energy, and it's actually really the apex of what the picture is trying to say is, I told you at first that anytime you see a demon, that represented the most energy. You see something that look lesser, we're talking about physics here. That's the lighter energy, right? So, when you see this demon, that means that this sister is very powerful. Also, this is the key. This is inside of all of you. When you see this demon, it means that you have the power to tear up this third dimension and the beast that's on it just by going inside and tapping into the black dot. You understand what I'm saying? Now, look at this again. Let's explain Stargate. How many of you saw Stargate? Raise your hand. It's on video now. You remember they went through the Stargate, right? They said the evil Ra, right? Call him evil. We got upset. Ra was not killing nobody but the damn crackers that was trying to get through the what? The Stargate. What? When they blew him up, what did they blow him up into? What was it? A reptilian. Remember when they shot the bomb? They unleashed the physical. You see what I'm saying? And the energy was too powerful. But you see, he was only killing white people. You know, he killed a sellout brother, but hell, he figured the brother got a Stargate. He can only kill him in the physical, and he actually doing him a favor by releasing him from the physical body. They say he was oppressing people. He wasn't oppressing black people. Them was white Arabs. Them wasn't the Egyptians. Them was white Arabs. He took some mutants and took them to another planet. You see what I'm saying? So, the demon that was showing you that anything that try to get through the Stargate will be met with death. That ain't one of the people of Ra, Israel. Isis, Ra, and El. The mother, the son, and the son of the son. And you the son of the son. Because the lost children of Israel is actually the lost children of Ra. And Ra, the black son. Abraham, the black son. Emmanuel, the hidden son. All they talking about. Abraxas is another name which means black son. That's the Gnostic god. That's the one I just showed you. And like I told you, they had the Enochian deities, the Enochian entities around the Stargate. So you got to look at the whole concept of everything I'm telling you is a war going on the inside of your body, and you getting ready to go across that threshold. And I'm getting ready to show you what's on the other side of the threshold in a few minutes. Now, y'all all right? Yes. Okay. Now let's get to the other side of the threshold, and then we're going to go into some sex magic and all. Now, y'all stick around for that. Okay, look. This is the black dot. Behind it you see a symbol of some kind of thing with some eyes looking at you. Something like an octopus or something. That's the demon. That's the demon coming through the threshold. That's your higher self coming through the threshold. It don't look like that. It only looks like that with these two eyes, the fake eyes. It is not conducive to understand that beautiful figure coming through, so it appears evil. You understand what I'm saying? This is the birth of all your horror movies. So now, that's it. Now look. You're going to go see two movies. You're going to go see a movie, Demon Night, where they show you in the movie that the Messiah is a black girl played by Jada Pinkett. She's the chosen one. Two things going on in the movie. One thing going on in the movie is they're showing you some demons trying to get back in that used to rule the earth. That's your higher self getting ready to retake this earth and kill this earth. The other thing they're showing you that they had 7 stars in this person's hand, and this woman ended up with, and she ended up with also 7 stars, which is talking about the demon. Which is also talking about, the 7 stars is also talking about the 7 powers in man, and she ended up with the 7 stars, and she was the Messiah, and she killed the white man who represented the devil. Although they put another black devil on the end to throw you off, it was really a story talking about the Messiah rising up, and they killed the white man who represented the devil. The other movie you're going to go see is a movie that was put together to celebrate you coming to retake the earth again. It's all in the movie. Now, I know that I've been talking about some crazy stuff to you. Oh, that nigga talking some spooked out stuff. This is reality. This is reality. This is reality. And when you go see this movie, it's called In the Mouth of Madness. Yeah, who saw the movie? Now, In the Mouth of Madness was a movie about a guy named Sutter King. Soot. He was writing these novels, and he had everybody in trance. And they hired this detective, basically, because he can find out things to go and find this person, because the novelist disappeared. And he had to go and put this book together, and he went to this place called Hub's End. It wasn't even in Vermont, but he went to Vermont, and he went into another dimension. And he went to this old town, and these demons was eating up everything in the town. And when he met up with the author said, look, I started writing these books, and I thought, when I started writing these books, I thought that it was all, he said, I thought it was all in my mind. He said, but I come to find out that they was telling me what to say the whole time. And he said, this is the last book, which means it's like Revelations. And he told him, look, the guy said, but this is not reality. This is not reality. The guy, and the woman told him before he left, the woman said, what? What about if everything that you think is insane is actually real and your life is insane, then you will end up in the damn crazy house. She said, reality is only what you tell yourself it is. Your ego and this is only what you tell yourself it is. You're saying this is reality. Who says? That's what you thought when you was born. If you was born with the true gnosis and found out this is the fake thing, and there's another thing, and I'm going to show you the apex of this in a few minutes, and let you know what's going on. I'm going to break it down to the least common denominator and let you know what's happening. She said, now, so he did this, and when he got there, the author said, I created you. I wrote you into the damn story. Now, I want you to take the book back to New York, to your world. He took the book back to the so-called real world, right? And come to find out the woman that he was with was written into the story, and he went into the movie, and he saw his whole life story being played on the movie. When he was in the crazy, he ended up in the crazy house. And then these demons came back to revisit the earth. And it didn't take but 5 minutes to clean this earth off. Now, the moral to the story is what you didn't know is this. The white people who wrote that, John Carpenter, he studied the Necronomicon and the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu myths, which I'm getting ready to put together a book that I'm going to put together next week. It's going to take me 1 week. I'm going to have it up here selling it. It's my stuff on the Necronomicon. It's going to be dealing with the real deal stuff. And the great old, I'm going to get ready to read you some of it in a few minutes. They came, those demons that came back was nothing but your higher self. See, you exist on two planes. What had happened was this. It's simple. You used to be gods. Then your third eye closed up, and these two eyes, the visible world became more clear, and the spiritual world became more dim till it shut down. You went to sleep in the underworld, which is inside of your head. There's a demon. It's not a demon, it's a god. It's the hidden god, and it's asleep. And it's dreaming. And everything that you're going through in your life is dreams. That's what that ego is. You got to get this. I'm telling you, this is the deep gnosis. This is what's going on. It's dreams. That's why they say I've been born again. The Bible tell you I'm coming in the light. I got a new thing, and this is a new spirit. This is a dream. This is all a nightmare. And all it is based on your life experience in this hologram, it registers, and that's what you become in this nightmare. And when you die, you go to a limbo form of heaven, and then you come right back here if you didn't tap in and go and tap back into the Godhead. You see the movie It, Stephen King. He was another one that was a student of H.P. Lovecraft. The movie It showed this man, they're all scared of this clown. But the clown is an illusion, but in actuality, there's a god up under the ground, up under the sewage, and he's dreaming all the shit. They had to tear him up. He was known as a reptilian. Well, inside of you is this black dot, the hidden god. And it is dreaming, and it is throwing off stuff to you. And that's why you can't get out of what it is, because you're trying to change the damn dreams. Instead of going within and trying to tap in with the inner self, the devil, the double. You see what I'm saying? The light bringer. You are trying to change the hologram, because the physical is the lowest. Do you understand the concept of what I'm saying? They teach you all this stuff. You've been seeing all these movies on TV. Do you know that all your horror and science fiction movies came from one source, H.P. Lovecraft? And all the rest of that stuff, some of the stuff is fake. So you dreaming. You see what I'm saying? So when he came, so what happened was them God, and the man told him. He showed him a church. He said the demon is in that church. What is the church? The church is known as a temple. And where is the temple? This is the temple. And there was a boarded up door in the church. He said, look, he said, I can't hold them back no longer. He had already been turned into, he had the demon on the back of his head. That's the black dot, even though he's showing a white man. He said, I can't hold them back no longer. And they got out and they came and they wiped out New York. That is nothing but the God that's in you that's been throwing off the dreams, waking up. And once you come back, it's going to kill everything. That's why he got to do with the Ebola Zaire. That's why he got to do with the lockdown. Because he knows what's getting ready to come back on this Stargate that's getting ready to be unleashed by July 23rd. But it's not a Stargate going to open up in the sky and you're going to step through. The Stargate is in you. You see? And the church, what do you see here? You see a church. And you see what? You see the gateway to the other side. The gateway to the other side. Then you see this picture here. Is a gateway, the black hole in the abyss, and you see this demon coming through. That's you. It only looks like this down here. Because the energy down here is fake, so it can't register that kind of power. Up there you look like the angels. So that's you coming through this gateway. Coming through this gateway. You see what I'm saying? Now there's a movie coming on tonight called A Lane to Live. Don't worry, because I made sure we recorded the damn thing for the ones who won't get a chance to see it. And we're going to get 2 nights of it, so we'll have it. That way we can mass produce them so you don't have to wait on Blockbuster. But you see the abyss. Right here you see a little ship. That's the white man on the earth. I'll raise it up. Right here you see a little ship. That's the cracker. Now when I put out this book, come from England, called The Book of Monsters, you're going to see these big things coming and you're going to see the little white people running. Serious, you're going to see it. Because the monsters, they say the Book of Monsters, the monsters is actually the gods. So the temple, that's you, that's your body. That's what the church is. You understand that black hole? And that's what you're getting ready to go through. But the key to this whole thing is you're not going to go through it. You ain't going to look in the sky. It's going to be going on in your head. Because all them stars you see out there ain't real. Those are, you see the light of other dimensions that you can go to. And you can only travel to those ways through your brain. You see what I'm saying? Through your head. That's how you go to that level. Not trying to go get in a tin spaceship and trying to go somewhere. You see? So this abyss, this gateway, I've been showing you the correspondence is coming through it's coming in here. Now, going back to this. Here's a picture of the same God. This is the Marasha Baphomet. This is called the Baphomet worshipped by the Knights Temples. You see these particular horns out of the head. I'll raise it up. You see these horns. You see the horns. You see the cross. In the middle of the cross is what? He represents the black dot, but you see the black dot in his head. You also see the square and the compass. You see? Which means God. You see the horns. Now the horns come from the god Amen, and it originally came from the goddess Hathor. Here you see, it says the beings who live below say that God is on high, while the angels in heaven say that God lives on earth. That's coming from the Zohar, the Kabbalah. In the Kabbalah, it says there's no such thing as a devil. The devil is only the one that neutralizes us and brings us to the Godhead. Your double. Satan, the opener, or it's called the light bringer, the light coming through the doggone gateway. Right here you see the same horns on Amen, the hidden God. Amen Ra. You see the black dot also represents the star Sirius. You see? That same horns that went to Greece and became Pan. And the white boy turned that into the doggone symbol of the devil. And it only means, the white boy knew what he was doing, it only means the symbol of the black man and black woman, who is the destroyer of this particular physical realm, the only realm on which the white man exists, because he doesn't have the black dot or the gateway to go to the other side. And when the hell's fire comes, which is the Kundalini fire, because it's like this. Let's say if you're going, the fire burning you up, it's lifting you up, and you got a ceiling, you got a hole in the opening, will take you through the other side. Since the white boy pineal gland is calcified, the fire go up, it just burn him up. That's where the thing comes, eternal combustion. The book Heaven, Fires from Heaven, how white people burn up. Whole book come from England. Big book. Got a white boy with his head bust up in flames. Yeah. Straight up. This is another symbol of chaos, which is the chaos sphere. Do you see these in color sometimes? That's on the inside of your brain. This is where kitty claws, different African patterns, mud claw, all these patterns come from. It's a projection that you put on this cloth of something coming on the inside of the brain. Melanin. Chaos means melanin. So when I'm talking about chaos, we're talking about melanin, the black substance. You see the black substance. Now, the black substance, if you can see this, it's a bad picture. This is the temple. There's a black dot in the temple. Right here is a cow-headed goddess. Same horns you see on the devil, which is the goddess Mentu. And the goddess Mentu means Kim, black. He's a symbol for melanin. So the horn in the devil mean melanin. That's why you need to get a book called The Devil. All you had to do was study the damn devil. The Devil. Perspectives of Evil in Antiquity to Primitive Christianity. Jeffrey Burton Russell. And in here they'll show where the original horns came from. The original horns came off the goddess Hathor, head, the golden calf. Check. Which is talking about the black woman and the black man. Mainly, the first thing it came from the black man. Now, show you some other pictures. Remember this one. The insectoid beings fears the black races and have kept them subjugated and confused, for they hold the key to knowledge. Their genetic clan information is needed to unlock the advanced secrets from Sirius data. The segmented data unite is also carried by the Indian clans, which is originally from the fourth planet of the Sirius star system, or the Sirius system, which is talking about you. Now, here's another picture of melanin, a symbol of melanin, a symbol in the black woman, melanin symbol. Now, it's a symbol of the black woman dancing. This is a symbol of a snake down here. If you see, there's a snake crawling up the tree. The evil serpent crawling up the tree of life. Don't eat from the tree of life. Samuel is his name. It's a sigil of Kim, which means melanin. And it says that the draconian cults lay beyond Egypt. As Massey has amply demonstrated, the occult significance of Kim is the dark radiations of the black human female, whose vaginal vibrations deposit the red earth and of reciprocation. She is the black goddess Kim Isis, which means black Isis. Nu Isis, Nu, which means the triple blackness of space, the womb of the birthplace of all manifested life. And that's a picture of the black woman. Check. This particular picture came from the Matrix. This is how the pyramids, what they took, what you saw in Stargate, they got from this picture. Out of information out of the Matrix Systems book. There was actually a spaceship that could land on the pyramids, and did land on the pyramids in Hemmitt. You see. But remember, those pyramids was white limestone, and they took the pillar casings off. You can get, go get, like I say, the Earth, Wind and Fire album cover, all in all, and you will see that white limestone. But this is a picture, this is the original one that came out before the thing, because this is a real thing that happened in Egypt. It happened in Egypt. Now, this is very interesting here, because we went to, oh, let me give you this first. Yeah, I want this brother say, explain this. Okay. 13 is your lucky number. This is the Ankh of AWAS. 13 is your lucky number. 418 is the number of melanin. 1 plus 4 plus 8 equals 13, your lucky number, which is the number of melanin. 777 is a number of the Dagon people that used to live in ancient Atlantis that shape-shifted and went up under the earth, went up under the water, and now they merged into dolphins. The dolphins are sacrificing themselves. But there was some of them that still live up under the earth, but they're not under the water. It's the spiritual water. That's just the shell. What? 30 minutes? Okay. It's the Dagon people. Now, here you see the eye hair rule, which is the black dot, because also the symbol of the symbol of the pyramid is melanin. Right here you got 777, which is also a spiritual number of the black man. It also means Kim, melanin. But it's manifestation of Kim. The other one is 666, which means 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. 6 electrons, which is the beast, which is the God Bes, the unmanifest inside of you. All this stuff was metaphysical, didn't mean no literal thing. The 7 heads come from the goddess Sebek. And the goddess Sebek is the crocodile of Kim. 7-headed dragon is also talking about the entity that's coming up to kill the cracker. It'll look like that to him, but it won't look like that to you, because it's going to be you. It's going to be you. When the cracker talking about the monsters, he's talking about you and your higher spiritual nature that's going to retake the earth. Going to retake the earth. This was given to Aleister Crowley by TAOS in 1919. These are the symbols that's inside of your head. Once you cross over, these are the symbols you will be. Which this manifests into this. And these are these demons, which is talking about spiritual energy. These things are in the makeup of the melanin, right here. Right here. I'll have a breakdown to try to explain some of that. When I put my Necronomicon book together, try to explain that. Now, this is very interesting, because I picked up a book. The book was at Oxford down here, but they sold out. It came from England. So I didn't buy it when it was in Atlanta. So when I went to Indiana, they had one more left, and I bought it. It's called The Second Coming. Now it's interesting, when I saw this, I knew it was some occult significant, you know. Now the guy caught all kind of flack behind this in England, because you know. And it's interesting, I bought the book. It's talking about this wolf. Now, he's nailed to the cross. About a month ago, was it a month? It was 2 days, 3 or 4 days after the bombing. Spirit came to the sister, said, we got to go to the mounds. I had just got off the plane from Indiana. They said, you got to go by yourself. So me and the sister, we rode up to the mounds. Got to the mounds, picked up another sister who was a spiritual seer. We rode to the mounds. So they kept saying that Jack is at the threshold. Jack is a Hebrew symbol, or Ethiopian symbol of the god Kak. And the god Kak is another name for Soot, Typhon. Kak, then it's Jack. Jack is talking about the black dot, or it's talking about the black god. Later on, the Hebrews make a toy called Jack in the Box. And if you see, the box is a symbol of the black dot, the concealment. And you see the Jack in the Box springing from that. They made that for toys for the Hebrew people to understand what is on the inside of you will one day spring through and you will be free. Liberation. So, when we got there, it was interesting. We got there and they said Jack was on the place waiting. So when we got there, Jack was waiting. They said he is waiting for you. Now this is Jack in his comedic form. See if I can find this picture. Y'all bear with me. We ain't got that long. This is Jack in his comedic form. Harpocrates. So he is waiting for you on the mounds. Now mind you me, this is the key. All the stuff that she is getting is going on inside our heads. See what I'm saying? Which is going to go on inside of your heads. Said Jack is at the threshold. Where's the threshold? That's the black dot. That's where you get the word threshold from. Threshold. Okay. Then, the next day, we went there and they said, Jah. No, Jack was waiting. Jah is at the threshold. Jah is the god Ra-Heru Kahudi. See, you have the Harpocrates, which is the hidden god, that's called the baby of the egg. That's the one that's in the black dot. Ra-Herukahuti is your Christ self that rises up from the egg, from the black dot. So they say Ra-Herukahuti is waiting at the gate, talking about the threshold, which is the black dot in you. So this is going on the inside of us. The next day, we went and got the other spiritual seer, and by that time, Jack, who is Harpocrates, was back on the mound, and then this particular person named Wolfman. Now Wolfman is the god Ra-Herukahuti. This is a symbol of the hawk-headed mythical lord Ra-Herukahuti. But since we was on the Indian reservation, he came as Wolfman. He said, I'm going to take a small pea and we're going to tear these crackers up. Metaphysically, what he's talking about, he's saying that the small pea inside of you is getting ready to spring forth, and the God is going to be unleashed from your temple, and you're going to tear these crackers up. He said, I'm Wolfman. Why was he Wolfman? Wolf, he said, because I can turn into a wolf, but also dog star. You see, wolf. Since he was on the Indian, we was on the Indian reservation, his name was Wolfman. And it was interesting, I had bought this book a month before, and this particular person showed up, which is a symbol of the Christ. It's all metaphysically. That's another one of the, this is the Christ, nailed to the cross. And at the crossing point, you see that wolf come out, representing what? Energy. Your energy. You understand? You understand what I'm talking about? Now, so that was interesting that went on. Right here is the temple, one of Ra-Herukahuti and the god Ankh-Nakhonsu. And in actuality, he's paying homage to the God that's on the inside of him. Newt, the triple blackness of space. That's the Newt. From that, she gives Hadit, the black dot. And Ra-Herukahuti comes, which the physical manifestation is just incarnated Ankh-Nakhonsu, which is on the inside of him. So that's the way it's going. She gives the seed from the heavens. The seed comes as the God. And the God is where? In you. He wears the leopard panther skin that Jesus wore, representing what? The black and gold, the black dots. The black dots. Who was the real God? Ankh-Nakhonsu, who was the real God, whose sarcophagus is in the doggone British Museum, courtesy of Harvard University. The same man I just showed you, on the stela that was found in 1914 is a real picture of it. It's a black man. Same picture of it. This is the real picture of this. Ankh-Nakhonsu in the Stela Museum in what you call it. A real man who was Osiris incarnate was God. Now, let's go into a few other things. We can deal with some things. Number one, you're going to have to start using sex tantra. Show you these pictures. I know they might be a little graphic, but we all grown. Now the book you want to get, because a lot of people been want some good books on sex tantra, but I've been getting some, and there'll be good books, and at the end they'll throw some homosexual stuff in the back. I said, no, I don't want to get that out, and niggas think I'm a faggot or something. So I said, no. But I say, no. The easiest way to lift yourself up to God is through sex tantra. We're going to introduce some books in a few minutes. And I ran up on this one, and I asked Sister Aprakita to order it. She got a couple of them in the shop over there. It's called Ecstasy Through Tantra. Now everything they show you in here that they're doing, they go straight to the temple walls and show you where the gods did it, either in Egypt or India. Everything in this book they show you. You say, well, that's some freaking. No, they'll show you the gods doing it to raise yourself up to the higher level. Now, showing you things you can do. And basically all you have to do is imagine these things. Imagine yourself in union with your mate and find out your chakra placement and just imagine your third eye and all this stuff going together. See what I'm saying? You imagine these things. See, a lot of things you think is physical, you do it with your mind. Here's another one. Now I know there's some beasts on here, but then again, they write the books, so since we don't write no books, hell, you know. I say hell, right on. Hey, you know. Here you see the chakras. And then you see the snakes coming and intertwining together. Now in this book, they're going to show you different things, different exercises. But all this stuff is coming spiritually and it's coming off the temple walls. You see. A lot of homosexuality crept in by the time the major world religions got in, and they cut all this stuff out. They cut all this stuff out. Now, this is a good one for the males, because you want to do some things as far as making the semen. You want to do ejaculation. Now let me show you. I saw it the whole time I was doing the lecture. Now I lost the thing. Hold up, I think it might be up here. You want to do some things like ejaculation. Now, all you got to do is find out where the point is. There's a point on you. I guess I have to pass the book around because I done lost the doggone acetate that has it on there. There's a point on you that you can mash, and the semen goes back up into your brain. I got the graphic picture, but I want to show you the breakdown of the other picture, but it don't make a difference. I guess you can see this one, if you can understand what's going on here. The woman can mash it for you. There's a point on you right up under the testicles, and you can mash that point, and the semen can shoot back up. Or you can imagine that thing shooting back up also too. You can imagine it shooting back up also too. And you can just imagine the semen going back up into your brain. But you need to start doing sexual tantra. You need to start doing sexual tantra. Here's another picture of sexual tantra. It's a mythical picture of the union of the gods. You see the skeleton, which also represents you leaving the spiritual, physical body behind and going to the spiritual level. And you can raise yourself up. You can raise yourself up from one level to the other. Here it is. I got it. Here it is. By doing that, I knew I could find it. Look, here it is. Now, as you can see, this is the penis and the testicles. And as you can see, right up in here in the middle, I would say it would probably be the exact center where a female's vagina would be. Right in the center, if you can imagine that. And you touch that, and it goes back into it goes back into the brain and raise you up. The name of that is called what? The Yani Nada. Yani is also a symbol for the black dot also too. Yani. The Yani Nada is also a symbol for the black dot. And so that's the stuff on sex tantra. But this book here, you know, this particular book here, you need to get on that particular stuff. It's called Ecstasy Through Tantra by Dr. John Mumford. And she has about 6 or 7 copies over there now. And it's a real good book. Now, let me show you. Now we're going to do one more thing and we're going to get out of here. Number one, that's a symbol of the great old ones coming back. Them demons lurking, getting ready to come back. The demons, is, my friend, is nothing but you. It's getting ready to come back. Now, I told people about the Necronomicon and all the people got scared. They was thinking it's some satanic stuff. These are the actual fragments left over of the Necronomicon that the Moors brought up in Spain, from Spain. Backwards, here it is? Okay. That the Moors brought up from Spain. I think it's written in Arabic. So this is the real deal. They're saying they also got the Enochian text. Now I'm going to put together this book in about 2 days for some material I got from England. I think this is also some translated text. And in this book, it's going to be dealing with the Necronomicon and the Book of Monsters. Now, let me see if I can find some material. I think this is some of the stuff I'm a Xerox, so you can have it. Now, it's called The Return of the Great Old Ones. Who are the great old ones? Y'all listen to this. Now, this is the apex of it, but just listen to this. This is history that is uncovered. We always talk about the war in heaven. Who are the great old ones? I'll put this picture up for the great old ones. I like that. Come on through and eat up this world. Now, When I show pictures of the book of monsters, you're going to see these big ass monsters, little white people this big, running, scared. But, like I just showed you, this stuff is real because I just showed you the translated text. You see? So, you're classified in about 4 or 5 classes. And these are the classes. Oh man. I want that bug. I'm trying to not swallow that bug. But I forgot to drink it. Damn that. He ain't getting out of that. He ain't got shit to throw away shit. He might be drunk. You're classified as the outer gods, the elder gods, the great old ones, the great ones, and the aviators, and the servitor races and the independent races. But let me read. And you'll get this stuff next week. It's going to take me about 2 days to run some of this stuff off. The outer gods rule the universe, except for Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep would be Heru. Horus, the messenger, he would be. They have little to do with humanity. Humans who meddle with these entities suffer for it. Rephrase, white people who mess with these entities suffer for it. They're only here for you. Usually, they suffer for it, usually madness and death. The outer gods appear amongst to be the true gods, and some seem to personify some cosmic principle. Only a few of these deities seem to take interest in human affairs. Step right there. What they mean by that? They look at you on this level as ants. Even though you say you've been down here suffering for a long time, you take an ant and put an ant at Stone Mountain and tell him to walk downtown, it might take 1,000 years. Check? Yeah. But to you, it's only a matter of reality to that ant. You know better, right? To your higher self and to the ones beyond that wasn't trapped, you only been in this thing a couple of days. Because there's no such thing as time and space. So when they say they have nothing to do with human affairs, since you, God, cause and effect, you pray to that God, you are actually tapping into your own subconsciousness and you're bringing forth that particular thing. And that's how you get blessed. So I'm your own higher self, who is connected to the greater God, which you know of as the supreme being. Check? Check. Through the cosmic walls, okay. They say that they have nothing to do with human affairs, little. When they do, they can often break through the cosmic walls or dimensions in order to wreak havoc and wreak new destruction. That's what we want. We want something to come back through to save us. But what's coming back through is not coming out in this outside world. This is illusion. It's coming back through you, your higher self, breaking through the walls in other dimensions. You got it? Y'all all right? Yes. Okay. All races and lesser deities and mythos and knowledge of the outer gods, and many worship them. Now it says all races and lesser deities of the mythos and knowledge of the outer gods worship them. You worship the outer gods. You worship the outer gods. The elder gods is a race of gods natural to the possibly rivals to the great old one, to the outer gods. They're talking about the elder gods rivals to the outer gods. There's a great cosmic war that went on. How many minutes? 10. Okay, we're going to just say this and all, and then we I guess we can do a question and answer if we want to. You could put another tape or whatever. You could tap that on or whatever you want to do. Now let me get this. There's 2 other things I want to read, and it says, though vast, awesome power, the elder gods do not seem to be dangerous to humanity as the outer gods. Like them, the elder gods have little contact with humanity. Few elder gods are mentioned by the god Nodens. Now, show you where Nodens is. That's interesting, because let me show you where Nodens is. Nodens is the black dot. And that's where these gods, few of the gods are mentioned. Nodens is one of them. So they're talking about the black dot in you is one of these elder gods. The great old ones, that's the other ones, are not omnipresent or omnipotent, nor nevertheless are godlike, in terrible in human eyes. Humans are much like the great old ones, who are near at hand. They are near in contact with you. That's you when you came to this particular realm. You were called the great old ones before you went totally to sleep. So you look like, they look kind of like this, but you wasn't so much shut down into the physical. The great ones occasionally, the great old ones occasionally participate in human affairs or contact with individual humans. That's the angels and all the other stuff you've been dealing with the gods since you've been on the earth. Okay, the great old ones appear to be immensely powerful beings, all supernatural beings, abilities, and but not to be gods in potentiality reported for the, let me get this right, but not to be gods of the potentiality reported for the outer gods. Each great old one is independent. Many seem imprisoned in some way. The great old ones are the ones that's imprisoned into this body. So the great old ones are nothing but you asleep or asleep. The great ones are earth. The great ones are earth and dreamland. Do not confuse them with the great old ones. The great ones are the weakest of the deities, and those who are mortal can surpass them in might. That's your lesser entities. I don't know, but see, what they're dealing with here, they're dealing with different realms of what you are in different stages based on the energy that you assume. You are all these particular people. Now you are Cthulhu, which is Osiris up under the ground. That's one of the great old ones. Shub-Niggurath, which is Isis. Yog-Sathos, which is Sut Typhon, Sut. Hastar, which is Amin-Ra. And Azathoth, which is Amin-Ra. And Hastar is the nameless or the unnamed. Now that's just the first 6 deities. But what it is the stuff that you have been scared about, all you got to go do is read your book of coming forth by day, where it's the same type of people. Now in this stuff they're talking about these particular demons and monsters and stuff, and I'm going into this stuff, and I know it sounds spooked out, but in actuality that's nothing but your higher self getting ready to retake the earth. Now when you go see At the Mountains of Madness, you're going to see just how this thing going to come. And when it comes, it's going to be like what? A twinkling of an eye. What your Bible says, it says you'll be transformed in the spirit like a twinkling of an eye. And your book of Revelations with the demons, the dragons, out of the abyss is talking about it. It's just that some of the stuff is fragmented because the book of Revelations has been passed down to Hebrewism but came out of Hemmitt.